Hey guys, welcome to the Drift Podcast. I am Travis,
And I'm Ben.
and today we have another guest, and he is here to talk to us about some drift tours,
Yeah.
etc.,
Gonna be-
etc. So give us some introductions, and tell us about yourself.
Yeah, cool. So
Better start with your
for
name.
everyone who doesn't know me, it's Ben Kai. A lot of people call me Benki or Ben. I've been drifting or back out drifting again for like 2.5, 3 years. And I come from like a simulation background, so I make like racing simulators. It's kind of how I ended up getting into motorsports.
Yeah, no, that sounds like rad because I remember you telling me a bit about it and like some of the more in-depth stuff you've done, which will be good to touch on in a little bit. So, a bit about how did you actually first start drifting? Like, what made you decide to go out and buy a car and start driving?
It was like a premature midlife crisis. No, so the first time I got into drifting was by accident. I grew up in the Sunshine Coast, and there's a couple of really nice roads there that are pretty slippery, particularly in like Swanton Noosa area.
Yep.
There's a particular road there that's pretty cool that I'm sure everybody knows. And if you drive fast enough down it, you tend to go sideways. So my first sort of experience with drifting was literally just hanging the arse out of the end of a corner and hoping I didn't hit the wall, which I did many, many times.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound.
Yeah, I'm sure we all crash a lot when we're learning. But yes, that was when I was like 16 through to like 18, 19 when I left Noosa. And then I got into it even more heavy down in Sydney, doing some other roads there in the Northern Beaches. And I think the first car I got when I was down in Sydney was I bought this dodgy like NA S13, and it was super slammed. I knew nothing about drifting. I didn't know anything about how to set the car up. I kind of just threw the car into the corner and clutch kicked and then powered through and hoped for the best.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how we all started. Hey, it's a really, really badly set up NA car. And you're just like, I'm gonna hope for the best now and try not to crash.
Yeah, like open center diff life.
Because yeah, I was lucky. I came with a 2A, but it had choppy, so it was real hectic.
Oh,
Yeah, my first drift car, I had a S13 that had bald tires on all four, and I decided to clutch kick an industrial estate and hit a gutter on my first time driving it, so that was awesome.
How come you've never told me about this before? Oh, man.
I can
Moving
top
on.
you.
No, I want to hear more about this.
It was CA18
My
too.
first time driving, I wasn't sort of adult like you, but my first time driving, my dad put me in a forward drive out at a friend of ours' property in the back in northern New South Wales, and just sat me in there. And then he goes, "Oh, you can turn it on if you want." It was in gear, and I just kind of turned it over until it started in gear, and it drove straight towards the creek. I didn't know how to stop it or anything. I just jumped out, and I managed to stop it just before it went into the creek.
Nice,
Fuck,
nice.
That's lucky as
Just
shit.
what you want.
Yeah, I think I was 12.
Oh, Jesus. So, what has been your favorite drift car that you've owned over the time that you've been in drifting?
Oh shit! Well, I had pieces of crap when I was younger, so none of them. They were all shit. It'd probably have to be my supercharged 350Z. Well, no, actually, no. The One Via, which was Tiana's old car, the one I was driving at Archie last year. That's probably my favorite car, but for a whole different reason. But the 350Z. That was the first proper drift car I bought myself. Towards the end of my marriage with my ex-wife, I decided to go and get back into motorsports, and went and bought a 350Z for like $4,500 that was written off. And then I drove that for like a year. I did 6 or 7 Friday night drifts, I think, over that year. And then decided to supercharge the car.
Nice.
So-
Every beginner's mistake.
Yeah, but strangely enough, I think because of my experience with simulators, and I'd been drifting in sims for like 2 years before I decided to actually go out and buy a drift car again. Like, I gave it in, man. I tried for like 3 years when I was younger to really get drifting, and all of my friends seemed to get better, and I just never really improved. And so I gave up on it. I rode off a car on our first trip to, I think I told you about this last time. I rode off my car on our first trip to Japan, and just fucking threw in the towel, man. Like, just went, nah, this is shit. I suck at this. I'm not doing it anymore. And yeah, I picked it up like I was 31, I think, when I started drifting again. So it's like I was 20 when I threw in the towel. So like 11 years later, I'm like, oh, I'll give this drifting thing a go.
Nice.
That's my laugh.
Yeah, yep. So yeah, how'd that 350 end up going? So yeah, you supercharged it, and
oh, dude, NA, it was amazing. Like 350Zs. The only thing I would have changed about it is I kept the roof on. It was a convertible, and like I was sick because you know you'd be sitting in QR and it'd start raining. You just put the roof on, you're all good, and you could flick the roof down. You know, sitting on track if it got too hot.
Yeah.
Which was sick, but it was stock lock, like not stock diff, just coilovers when I first got it, and then we did steering adjustments in the front, then we did adjustable arms in the rear, and then we decided to supercharge it. And I supercharged it. The process of supercharging took a lot longer than we thought to get it running right. So I bought my S13 once I started ripping the 350 to pieces and doing some crazy shit to it. I went and bought the S13. And that's when I started drifting at Archie like all the time. That was my daily. It was a beautiful two-tone. I've got some photos of it. It was really nice. And then I drove it to Archie. And then I hit the wall.
Those unforgiving walls.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the plastic barrier, man.
Oh,
the plastic
really?
barrier. Yeah. Luke will remember it because I drove in and he stopped me and he goes, oh, remember, don't drive on those tires. Like, they're your grippy street tires. Make sure you swap your rims over. And I'm like, yeah, no, I won't forget. Totally forgot. Went straight out on the 245s, which was semis on the rear, and the first clutch kick, it just pushed in the wet and went straight into the orange barriers that used to be on the pit wall.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it just fucked the whole rear quarter of my car.
Nice.
So I just went, oh yeah, send it. And I'd been driving for a bit then, and later on that night, I pulled the handbrake and went straight into the wall at the bottom end.
That would hurt.
Nice.
That's why it's got blue quarter panels now, blue front quarters. Yeah, but the three. So we supercharged it, and it was a handful, man. It was an animal. We were at Matsuri in it last year, I think, or maybe the year before.
Okay.
I think it was last year. No, last year. It was a black convertible, and it was incredibly loud. All the officials kept telling me that I should not drive that car. It was straight through exhaust the whole way through with big like Bosuzuku tip out the rear.
I do have one question for you, and that's what was going through your head when you were directing The Phantom Menace? If anyone doesn't get it, he looks like George Lucas. For all of our audio listeners, he's like a spitting image of George Lucas. So
all I'll say is it was awesome, bro. The weirdest part about the weirdest part about that is after Okachan labeled me drifting George Lucas, and then I had Tanaka-san come up to me at Nico and go, George Lucas! Oh no. Oh, it's really...
Oh jeez. You just need to go hang out in Tokyo in front of some cameras and just tell them that you're George Lucas.
And tell them that you're bringing a new Star Wars movie out. It's going to premiere in Japan.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's come over later. We'll do it as a prank, like later in the year.
Yeah, definitely. I want to get on that the airport show where they interview as you're coming into the country. But you got to be coming into the country during the daytime, and 99% of the cheap flights don't come in during the daytime. But yeah, I really want to get on that show. I've been on Japanese TV like 3 times, so
oh, you lucky bugger!
Yeah, dude, just right place, right time every time. Do you know there's a shop, Phoenix's Power in Kyoto? It's just around the corner from Tra-Kyoto, which is Rocket Bunny, and they just only do GDRs basically, and they're really famous for GDRs. And TV show was doing a special on there at like 9 o'clock on a bloody Friday night, and I just rock in there with my mate, and they're just like, oh, Westerners, you know, blah blah blah. And then it turned out that the dude who was presenting the show used to like fight MMA and was in America, and yeah, and he's like, oh, you know, my English is perfect. I just want to ask you guys a few questions and blah blah blah. So yeah. That was pretty awesome. But yeah, other times just in shopping centers and shit. And then on the Fukushima video as well, I think I was in that a little, just a tiniest bit of that. For the Fukushima news video when they were covering Ebisu.
Nothing wrong with being on TV in Japan, man.
Yeah, that's it. I need more of it. I want to be famous over there.
You just don't want to end up like old mate.
I just don't want to be on TV for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, so it's like old mate that did all the crazy like last year.
Yeah,
we were in Japan. We were, I think, Logan Paul or whatever his name is.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, let's not
don't be that guy.
I won't bring that up, but yeah, that's the thing you don't want to do.
But yeah, yeah. So, hit him with some more questions.
Yeah, on that 350. Sorry, the reason the 350 is probably my favorite car is it was just so freaking it was fucking obnoxious, man.
Yeah,
it was. It was incredibly loud.
Obnoxious.
Yeah, especially if it's got straight parts.
I don't know. It was so fast. Like that. The day we got it out there, we did Matsuri, and it's the only Matsuri I've ever done where my car has been functional with minimal effort. Like I had two cars. I had my two-tone RB20 S13 and my supercharged 350Z, and they just ran. It was crazy. I've never experienced a Matsuri like it. Every Matsuri I've ever been to, shit's broken, stuff's gone wrong, and like there was chaos all around me. And my two cars were just like meh, to the point where when my friends' cars were breaking down, I was literally throwing them the keys to my cars, going, "Hey, take this for a drive, swing it out." Like Loki threw it out and was like trying to do backies into dipper in it, got it like wedged in the dirt.
Nice.
And then Ben James was driving it. Like we just had like there's probably 6 of us during the day just shredding that car to pieces.
That's hectic.
Yeah, 350s they definitely seem pretty reliable.
I got to drive a stock one yesterday, and they're actually really quite peppy for a stock NA motor. I was like, hey, this is impressive.
And honestly, I think
they've got heaps of torque.
I think if they aren't straight piped, and they have just like a HKS exhaust or something like that with a nice muffler on it, they actually sound pretty good. Like, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, they sound really good. But if you do what I did, which is like straight through 4-inch with a big Bose Suzuki pipe, they just sound horrible. Like I loved it because it was obnoxious.
Everyone else hated it.
Everybody else hated it, man. Hated it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was the first thing Ben Keeley said to me. Not Ben Keeley, bloody the boys from Profile Autosports. When they tuned it, they're like, "You need a muffler. Like we're not tuning it without the muffler."
Yeah, I can kind of understand that. Usually tuning in an enclosed space. So.
Yeah, I can't imagine how hectic that would have been on a dyno with like a shed around the car. That would have been insane.
Oh. That thing was, it only made 350, so it made 350 at the wheels, but it made like 447 newton meters of torque.
350 making 350.
350 making 350.
Inception.
Yeah, no, it went nuts. But yeah, that's probably my favorite car. And the only other reason I like the One Beer is it was just such a sturdy workhorse. Other than that, what'd you say?
You can put it into walls.
Oh, that, yeah. Well, I can put it into walls and not worry about it. No, it was such a workhorse, man. Like 10 of us shared that car for most of last year.
Yeah.
And it got hammered every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Sunday. Like, hammered.
Loved it.
Yeah, nice.
Cool.
So yeah, do you have like a drift team or group that you drive with at the moment, or anything like that?
Spoiler: we already tagged him earlier.
we have a few boys in the No Doubt drift team. So we've got like Ben James, as I mentioned before. We got AJ Simpson. We used to have Jojo, but Jojo's taken a hiatus. He's having a break for a bit. We
retired.
Got Jamie Field. Pardon?
He retired.
No, I think he just wanted to focus on different things. Like he just wanted to focus on building his car and like not having to worry about anything. Not that we're not even like a proper team. We didn't start it because we wanted to be a drift team. We just were like, well, we're like 8 dudes that are really good mates, and we all drift together. If we make a team and then we compile our parts, it's gonna make life heaps easier.
Yeah.
Means when we're going to events, we've always got people to go with. Like, we didn't start it to be a team. It didn't start out like No Doubt Drifting. My brand didn't even fucking start as anything. It was a joke between me and my 2 Canadian mates that I basically came up with the concept for these drift tours with. Because they say no doubt all the time. And it was just something that we threw at each other for like a month solid, and then it turned into I was like, cool, I'm going to call my Instagram and my YouTube No Doubt Drifting.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, man. Hells yeah. That's right.
Yeah, that's kind of how it started. It was a piss take.
Yeah, I like it when groups start like that. It's got like a full genuine reason behind the name, which is quite funny.
Yeah, and 8 people in a group's pretty decent size too.
Yeah, that's a big group.
Well, yeah, there was someone we started out with, we had like Loki as well, but Loki has, she's got way too much stuff going on with like friggin' Ninja Warrior and all that crazy, you know, cars and shit. Tackling down car thieves.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got
getting on TV.
We got Grant Ames is in the team. Grant's a really good friend of mine. I'll talk to you about a little bit later. He's a big part of the not-for-profit. We got Jamie Field, Sebastian Lee, and then a good mate of mine from the States, Don Sprinkle. He runs a team called Faint Stars. And we chucked him in there for shits and gigs because we're like, no, we have international talent.
Fun times.
But that's it. Yeah, that's kind of how it started. It started as, I'm a bit of a larrikin man. Like, I like to have a lot of fun, and most people that know me, I'm pretty not serious 99% of the time. And No Doubt just started as a really good way to have a shit ton of fun and just share the crazy shit we get up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's it, 100%. So, let's go into some Japan questions. Oh, let's start with Japan question for a bit. Where's been your favorite place to drive in Japan?
And why?
My favorite place to drive in Japan, as in just driving or like a drift track?
Let's go one of each.
¿Por qué no los dos? Why not? Give me both.
Yeah, and obviously
¿Por
why.
qué no los dos? Yeah, sick. So driving, my favorite place to drive in Japan for obvious reasons is Hakone.
Yeah.
What have you driven there?
Especially, pardon?
What have you driven there?
What have I driven? My 86, JZX, S14. My 86 was definitely the most fun car because I was like, oh my god, it's Pikumi. But no, so when we went over, I always liked Haruna more. Like the previous times I've been to Japan, I've always gone to Haruna Mountain. And I hadn't really spent a lot of I'd spent a lot of time on Hakone, but not in like the same sort of sense. And so this last year, when I went back for the first time in like 10 years, I went in January last year to go and visit Samet and hang out with him. And he, you know, I got to go drifting with Akachan and do some cool shit. But that's actually where I met like my best mate Danny in Japan, who's also my business partner, and then Josh and Kirk, these 2 crazy Canadian motherfuckers. And when we're driving the 86, he goes, hey man, I want to show you this thing. I'm like, what thing? And we're on like the turnpike, and he's like, yeah, I want to show you this thing, man. I'll show you this thing we do in Canada. I'm like, yeah, cool. And the prick jumps out of the fucking car, like opens the door, jumps out of the car, and just slides next to the car on his shoes. Like, I shit you not.
I've seen videos of that, but far out.
Yeah, he's got it's called, his Instagram is called deadbeat.scum. And I'm pretty sure he's got a video of him doing it, hanging out my car. And also being on the roof.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Canadians are wild.
A lunatic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the next level wild.
But it'd be my favorite, I think, yeah, so Hakone.
You haven't driven like a Hakusuka or anything like that on there before?
No, I've never driven a Hako on there, but I have driven a Kenmiri on there, which
is better than a Hakusuka.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Well,
Kenmiris are like the best looking Skyline.
No,
that's a bold statement.
Yeah, that's a fucking bold
Kenmiri
statement.
GDRs are the best old Skylines.
They do look pretty sick.
I'd say they're in the top 2.
Yeah, as in number 1 spot.
Nah, man, you're all wrong.
I reckon though. I think the Hako and the Kenmiri float. Because sometimes someone will do a Hako up and you're like, wow, that looks insane. And then other times you'll see a Kenmiri that you think is out of this world, and then sometimes they're whack.
Yeah.
Well,
let's just agree that they're equals then.
No, we'll just agree that Hako is number one always.
Fuck off. I think Hakone is definitely my favorite place to drive in all of Japan in any car. Like even in a van, it's good. You know, just because of it's cool, man. Like there's so many hidden little roads. But then my favorite my favorite drift track, I have to say Mobara, man.
Okay, what's up?
Mobara, hands down, is like, it's just got a little piece of everything. It's got undulations. It's got these really tight, intricate sections. It's got really fast, flowy sections. It's got awesome backwards entry setups. Like, and then you turn around and go the other direction. Yeah, the bait corner is sensational, but that corner going backwards is fucked up.
So you can drive reverse track there too?
Yeah, they drive reverse track. There's a video of the
into the mic
Freeze Verosa coming in. I think it was the Freeze one, and he like clips the barrier for like the pit entry, and then flings it around and just like runs the entire foam wall on the way back. It's the scariest but coolest looking thing ever.
Yeah, that foam wall it's not friendly either.
No.
Like if you clip that foam wall, even just the slightest bit, it just goes and like
sucks the car in.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah,
suck it in and then spit it back out upside down.
Pretty much. It's like there's this movie, I don't remember the name of this movie. I've been trying to figure out which one it is, and Travis, you might be the man to do this, but I saw this movie in the 90s at some godly on time in the morning when I wasn't watching TV. No. It's like a horror, a mix of like horror shows, right? And this dude brought this chick home, and he's got like a bed, and the bed's got a demon in it. Anyway, he puts the chick on there, and you think, yeah, they're gonna fuck. And next thing, the bed like eats the chick. Like, it eats the chick.
No, you watched some weird shit, man. I don't know. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. No.
It's a really weird movie, man. I don't know.
I don't watch those C grade movies.
It was F grade, man. It was definitely F grade.
All right, moving on. Yeah, right. So, which cars have you had the pleasure of driving at Mobara?
S14 is the only car I've driven at Mobara, and I definitely want to change that.
Yeah, nice.
I want to drive the JCX there for sure, but the S14. So the first time I ever drove Mobara was in an S14 from a good friend of mine called Daniel Sunagawa. Daniel owns a company called STF Tuning. It's a workshop in Yokohama. They're our partners for the drifters, and we met Danny on accident. So get this, we met Danny at a Fuji Drift Day in January of last year, which we were going to drive to, but then we were like, we'll catch a train. It'll be easy. There'll be Uber. No. It was we ended up having to catch 2 buses, a train, 2 buses, and then walk for ages to get to Fuji. And then we stumbled across this, we went into this mechanic shop, and the lady there spoke a little bit of English. And then she's like, I know who can help you. The guy there owns the fruit shop. He speaks really good English. He lived in America. So she got him, and he drove us to Mount Fuji, to the track.
Wow.
Yeah, really cool. Really, like Japanese courtesy, bro. They didn't know us from Virus, so drives us like a 25-minute drive to the track.
Wow.
Doesn't ask for anything in return, gives us water and shit when we're in the car.
Wow.
All right.
And so we went there from a good friend of mine. Now I've had a total mind blank.
Anyway,
we'll come back to that. He runs his own Instagram theme but he was doing a filming thing there for Danny. And so we're there and we see these sick cars driving around. They're like green and they look really cool. And then we're introduced to Danny, and Danny's a bit of an interesting dude. And he's like, yo, what's up, man? He talks like a real gangster, even though he's Japanese. And he's real gangster, man. He's Brazilian Okinawan.
Yeah.
And it's like, he'd be like, yo, Benny, man, what's up, bro? What you doing, man? Yeah. When the boys all met him on the tour, they're like, does he actually fucking speak like that? We're like, yeah, he does. So first time I met him was at Fuji, and we wanted to go drift at Mobara, and we thought Mobara was on like the Wednesday and the Fuji's on the Sunday, so we thought we had like 3 days. turns out it was like the following day, so it was on Monday. And Danny managed to take the car back to the workshop. It got broken by a dude that day. He had to repair the strut tower, replace the LCAs, do a whole bunch of shit to it, then get tires ready, then get it all together on a truck, and then pick us up at 6 a.m. and then drive us to Mobara. So he didn't sleep. He like basically pulled an all-nighter to work on this car and get it ready. Didn't know us from Mobara soak, and got us to the track. And then we got to the track, and what happened? Oh, like 4 runs in, Josh had a brain fart, drove up the bank, and snapped the rad support, damaged the radiator.
Nice.
And yeah, I've got it all on footage. It was hilarious. I made him call himself a cum guzzling thunder cunt. Introducing Danny to that was amazing. He just used it the whole time we were there. But so in Australia, right? You know, you crash your car like that, you snap your rad support. You haven't got a welder on track. You sort of go, oh well, day's done. Danny found another workshop in Mobara, towed the car there, welded it all together, fixed the car, and got it back. We missed like an hour and a half on track tops, and then we were back on track driving again.
And this is in the January trip, was it? Or the previous?
This was in January last year. Yeah, so
right.
January last
year.
Yeah. And like, I'd never experienced that, man. Like, I've been to Abisu, I've been to Matsuri's, I've been to tracks and shit, and if I break my car and I don't have spares, it's not happening. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. Next minute, we've got a car running and we go out and we fucking have an awesome day. Like, it was sensational. But the 14, minimal mods, just knuckles. He makes really good Acumen knuckles that get really good lock without needing to move your LCA, like extend your LCAs or move your rack or anything. With pretty much no bind. It's a really nice setup. And yeah, he sort of got an introduction to, I suppose, tire use. He brought like 6 sets of tires thinking it would be enough. We'd gone through them by like half of the day. Because we didn't tell him anything about whether we had experience or anything, and he just assumed that, you know, most of the people that come over there and do this with him can't drift already, and need quite a lot of coaching. And then we burnt through like 6 sets of tires in like half a day.
Nice. How far away is Mobara from Tokyo?
I can't remember from Tokyo because we always go from Yokohama, but Mobara from Yokohama is about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh wow, so that's really close proximity.
That's pretty cool.
Like it's really close.
Yeah, right. Awesome.
It's about the same sort of distance as Nico, but in the other direction.
So it's south.
Yeah.
It'd be like,
no, it's like
south.
It's like that way.
West. Yeah, or west of Yokohama then. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, but it's sort of northwest.
Towards Fuji Speedway, essentially.
No, other direction. So like Fuji Speedway would be down here. Mobara's like over here somewhere. It's over the water on the other side of Tokyo.
Oh, near Chiba. Like that side.
In Chiba.
Oh
that
wow,
side.
so it's really close to Tokyo then. Okay.
Yeah, it's not even
right.
like
wow. Okay.
Not even that far.
Yeah, right.
Mobara is definitely up there on the bucket list track. It's a cool play.
Oh man, it's insane. And like watching, there was a couple of D1 guys there and regional D1 dudes there on that day, and watching the angles that they with, like, they're flicking it in going up the hill at sensational pace. Like, it's amazing that they get the car to stop and go around the corner going that fast.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that would have been fucking amazing.
Yeah, and when you stand on pit lane too, like, you get the best view because you can see the whole track, and you get to see them come. You get to hear them flick into the bottom corner, or you see them flick in, and then they disappear behind like a series of walls and shit.
Yeah,
and they just come out with massive smoke trail coming straight up at you, and it's like you can. It's not a good thing, but you can really tell when someone's messed up coming out of that corner. Like it's just right in front of you, and it's amazing to watch them recover it. When they crash, it's not that great, but when they recover it and then flick it wide and go up the hill,
yeah,
mental.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I definitely want to go there.
Yeah, well, at least it's really close to Narita and everything. So
yeah, it's hands down like one of the best tracks I've ever driven in my life. It's so fun. It just needs a Nico drop somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Well, let's talk about some other tracks that you go to visit or have been to visit on the drift tours then.
Yeah, cool, man. Which ones? What do you want to know about?
All of them, man. All of them.
All of, do you want me to
Have
start?
you been to Mahon?
Yes, I have, and it's a scary track. And no, I haven't done the big flick entry into the wall because I sucked when I went there. Well, I've attempted it. I've never pulled it off.
Come on, I saw you doing that
able to
in
pull it
fucking Assetto Corsa, man. If you can do it in Assetto, you can do it in real life. Don't be soft.
Oh, I hope so, but Assetto didn't exist when I was there last time. When I was there last time, it was like
fucking excuses.
in the early 2000s, man. And I like horrible.
What, are you saying you're like 50 now? You only got started back when you were 31 and it was like in the 2000s?
Yeah, I'm 50.
I'm going to look you up on Wikipedia, George Lucas.
Well, I started in 1955.
Okay, so Mahon.
So Mahon's terrifying.
Yeah.
Also one of my favorite tracks to watch.
Yeah, next up, my next favorite track is
Are you thinking the same one I'm thinking?
yeah,
Yamanashi Sportsland.
No, that's not one.
You. I don't know. Why am I friends with you? Yamanashi is my favorite track.
The name is eluding me. It's very south.
Maze?
No.
Give me a layout.
Bahoku.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
You
Bahoku.
can go to Archie and experience it.
Yeah. I want to do it for real.
Nah.
So Bahoku, let's go with that one, then we'll go Ben's one.
There we go.
Bihoku is sick. I've done a lot of Bihoku in the simulator.
Yep.
I haven't actually had the opportunity of drifting it yet in real life, but I've been to events there. And it's mental. Like Bihoku, or we talking new Bihoku now, or Bihoku when it had two sections?
Oh,
the main track with the flicking off the wall where you Komatsu.
Oh, dude,
hit
that
it,
shit's
like
yeah, that shit's insane.
Like, that one.
Yeah, so that track, we're definitely doing that on our tour. We're going to do a Kansai tour.
Yes.
But that track for tandems has got to be one of the most, I'd say, entertaining and humorous tracks to watch at. The lines are really smooth, and when you get the appropriate flickbacks on them, yeah.
Like,
sorry, I just lost it in memory there for a minute.
I'm gonna flick us over. This is what people are seeing in the background. If you are listening, is footage from your trips. So I'll start playing that as well.
Well, so that's from our January trip. Yeah. So that's from
that's a 2019 January trip. Yeah.
Yeah. So from like last month.
Yep.
Well, no. Yeah. No. From January.
Yeah.
But that was a sick day. So I think is that the JZX on there now?
No idea. Green JZX.
Green JZX. Yeah. So that's Andy Sparks driving that car right now, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's either him or Luke.
Yeah, dude's a crazy driver. I remember him coming to QR while we were marshalling, and he's like, "Can I do a run up with the other boys?" And we're like, "You sure the S13 is going to hold together for that?" And he's like, "Yeah, it'll be fine." And he came rocketing down from Dipper, and the thing was just crab walking. We're like, "Oh, we're going to jump to the other side of the barrier now." And it like missed out the like marshalling barrier by that much because it was crab walking so hard. He goes to like throw backies into turn 3. He's an absolute madman.
Yeah, Andy is a lunatic. So this track, actually, Fuji, we put him in, the JZ, we threw him in the 180, we threw him in the S15, and he drove the Laurel as well, the C34. Yeah. And everything we put him in, he just fucking ate it up and was throwing backies and was like getting on people's door. And I remember when we first got there, he goes, "So how are the Japanese with like tandems? Do they mind if you get on their door?" I'm like, "The only way to find out is get on their door and see what they do. Go nuts." And so he's like just chasing people down, like like a little friggin' like a Rottweiler on the hunt or something, man. Like he just constantly, he'd just wait for someone to go, "Nah." And then Fink was doing it too. Fink goes out in the 180 and then just starts like chasing the Hakusoka around. There was this dude with a L28 that had been stroked to an L, so like a 3.2.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he'd had the cars. It was his first drift car. He bought it. He's had it for like 20-30 years or something. And the dude could steer, man. Like we got heaps of footage from in the car with Fink on his door. The scary part was Fink was on his door, and one of the basically the boys grabbed rims that were meant for the S15 and they put them on the 180, and they weren't the
center ball.
The inner center didn't match up with the spaces, so it didn't mount correctly. So when we like tightened them down and torqued up the nuts, it didn't do it properly, and they started like basically undoing. And so he's like flogging it around, just getting all over this dude's car, and then suddenly goes, "Oh, that's a weird feeling," and drives off track, and he's got like 2 lug nuts holding on the wheel.
Nice.
That's intense. Nah.
He was selling like 3rd gear backies with 2 lug nuts holding the wheel together.
Consent levels are high.
Before we move on, we should go back to Baihoku.
Yeah, Baihoku.
All right.
Let's finish that off. Do you remember what we're up to?
Tandem lines at Baihoku, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, tandem lines at Baihoku. So, Baihoku is one of those tracks. It's incredibly unforgiving. It's very much like Mihan. It's not, depending on how the layout's set up, it's not like a beginner's track.
No.
By any means. So
plenty videos on the internet will like assure you of that, of just people brushing that tire wall and then like flipping their cars over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like if there's any track that's gonna roll a car, it's gonna be Baihoku.
Yeah.
Like or Mihan.
Yeah.
Like that's
or
just how. Oh, that's Luke right now. In that he's chasing old boys.
Yeah,
he was having a blast, man. Like he's insane. Like, I learned a phenomenal amount from sitting in that dude's passenger seat over in Japan.
Yeah, well, we did speak to him about it, and he was who got us onto you for this, because, definitely.
Like, he spoke insanely highly of it, and he's got me insanely motivated to try and save up and go for a trip.
Yeah. Oh, bro, look, it's... then that's awesome, man. That's the only reason that I do this. I don't do this to make money, and, you know, like... We don't make money on every tour. Yes, some tours we've made money on, but, you know, we don't make a great deal of money out of it. We do it because, one, you know, I get to go and take people over and introduce them to something that I'm so incredibly passionate about. Like, the first time I drifted properly, like, so when I went back to Japan for the first time in 10 years, which was last year, I had this idea of where my skill level was as a drifter, and this isn't me trying to be arrogant or anything like that. I'm one of these incredibly self-reflective people, and when I fuck up, there's no one that's harder on that fuck up than me, and sometimes it really fucks with me. But as a drifter, I thought my skill level was, you know, here last year in January before I went to Japan, and then Sam had invited me out, and I go to Japan, and I jump on the skid pan at Tsukuba and jumped in Okachan's car and discovered, oh, hang on, I can actually drive kind of well, and I can tandem a fair bit better than I thought. But I thought, oh, this isn't like anything real. This is a skid pan. I can't trust this. So when we met Danny and we got the opportunity to go to Mobara, that opened my eyes. I literally was like, holy fuck, I can drive heaps better than I thought I could. Just because I was on door with people that I'd never driven before. I was on a track I didn't know. And, you know, I had people coming up to me that were locals that are going, oh, you know, how many times have you come here? And I'm like, oh, this is day one. And so it was insane, man. Like, I got this huge confidence boost. But at the same time, I had big reality checks because, you know, Japan's a scary place. If you fuck up on track, like, hey, that's Tiana. If you fuck up on track, you fuck up big time, and there's no one there. Like, you don't have mates to help you. You don't. It's not the same sort of thing as drifting in, you know, at Archie on the weekend. If something goes wrong, you know, you've got support.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge eye opener to me, man. To go there, and this is what I want everybody to go there, because I went back 2 weeks later. I was like, I got to do more of this. I got to do more of this drifting. So then we went to Nikko and we did a whole bunch of other tracks. And the thing that really clicked in my head, and I went, fuck, I'm actually like okay at this thing, was when we went to Nikko. I'd never ever been on a track before drifting that would be that fast, and I'd never driven a JZX before. Jump in the JZX 100, and in 5 laps, I'm linking Nikko in 4th gear and scaring the shit out of myself. And so I came home with this. Yeah, seriously, man, I scared the fuck out of myself. There was a few times where I had to like pull into the pits, and Danny pulled me out of the car and he goes, you need to just sit down and chill out for like 10 minutes because you're going to kill yourself. Like, I was punching 4th gear in this car that I'd never driven before, doing the back Nikko drop.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd done the sim for like 3 hours before I left, and it felt exactly the same. So I think for a brief moment in time, I forgot that I was driving a real car and was like, oh, if I crash, I could just reset.
Yeah. That's a risky thing to bring up, like for the people that do play Sims a lot, you know, like there's no reset button, you know, and there's no just upgrade my car, or just, you know, someone else can change the tires for me, or, you know, like it's a
or I'll have infinite tires.
You just can't turn damage off and have infinite tire wear.
Yeah, no damage off. Yeah, I bet you wish you could turn that off.
Well, it's a sad reality check when you hit
Definitely.
something.
Yeah. No mechanical damage either.
Oh, no, none. You know, so like
so
for
there's
instance,
no mechanical sympathy. You just sit on limiter in a sim.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, ninja kicking. I could ninja kick for days in the sim, and I will be honest. Like I picked up a really bad habit from learning how to drift in the sim, and that was when I first started going to Archie and drifting more with Luke and whatnot. He's like, one of the first things he said to me is, he goes, bro, you're so heavy on the gear. He's like, stop ninja kicking. It's why you're blowing up gearboxes. I was like, oh, okay. That definitely comes from the sim, because in a sim, you can just fucking clutch kick for days and there's no consequences.
No, there's definitely not.
Yeah.
Like none.
Oh, quickly before we jump into the rest of Japan Tour questions, let's talk a bit about the Sims you've built and done, like work with. You said Dreamworld a while back with simulators there, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
let's hear a bit about
Dreamworld.
Dreamworld, for people that don't know, is a theme park on the Gold Coast that is visited by a lot of foreign tourists and locals.
Tourists. Yeah, it's pretty big. So I started the simulation company in 2014. And it was an accident, man. I just stumbled into it. It was a hobby. I'd been building them for myself for a while as a hobby, and my wife at the time was like, you need to just make this a business. Like, you're crazy to not do it. And so I started building Sims and selling them to people. And I went and, got a huge race car trailer and whacked a whole bunch of simulators in the race car trailer and drove around and chased V8 supercars around like a fucking idiot and wasted a lot of money. The space that we needed at V8 supercars was like $10,000 for the weekend. So you had to make 10 grand just to make it worthwhile. And do you know how many $5 5-minute fucking simulator rides that is? It's a lot. And it's a lot of people to deal with. So, we had these simulators, 4 simulators to start off with, all hooked up in the trailer, and we had like TV screens on the outside, and we had this software where you could monitor them all and you could record people's lapse times, and it just started out as that, really, just nothing. And then I started doing some track work stuff with a good friend of mine, Paul Stokel, and his driving company, which is called drivingevents.com.au. If you ever want to go and drive like a Lotus or a Radical S3 at QR or Lakeside, that's the guy you go and see, and you can go and drive like a race car. Anyway, I started working for him, like bringing the Sims to his days and whatnot, and then I started getting into the training side of it. My grandfather was in motorsports, like back in the 80s. His name's David Pritchard, so it's sort of been in my family. My dad was into motorsports, and my old man, Scotty. And it was just like a natural thing, man. I got the Sims, and then I started teaching people how to, drive cars better in the Sim and get better line work and understand a track from the Sim. And then, it's never going to be one-to-one. You're never going to drive a simulator and it's going to be exactly like the car. It's not even the ones at VR Motorsports, man. There's still things that you just can't simulate, right?
Yeah.
But you can learn lines, you can learn braking points, you can learn entry points, you can learn marker points, you can understand racecraft and race awareness without any risk. And so we opened the shop in West End, went into partnership with MXJ, and we had 2 full-size F1 simulators. We had a whole bunch of motion stuff. We had static simulators. And I just did driver training for years, man, just teaching people how to drive on Sims. And in about 2016, it would have been, or whenever Assetto Corsa was released, maybe it was 2015, I got into it, and the drifting mods were sick. I'd been drifting in R Factor before that.
Yeah,
Live for Speed.
Far out.
Yeah, and it was man, it was awesome. Right? It was so good. And then Assetto Corsa came out, and I couldn't drift in it. No matter what I did, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't drift in this frickin' game. And then a mate of mine was sitting down with me one day, a race car driver, Sean Evans, a young bloke, and Shawnee goes, "You're not doing it, man, because you've got to drive it like real life. You can't do the shit you've been getting away with in Live for Speed and whatnot. And Need for Speed, you need to drive this like a real car." So I actually started paying attention to how do you drift sim. And during that time, my wife and I had the business going. We were selling them. We were installing them in different places. We were, doing pretty well. And then I fucked up and I did a deal that didn't work out, and I ended up in a big hole. And we were actually going to go bankrupt. And we landed the contract with Dreamworld. It sort of happened by accident, and we ended up getting the foot in the door through some mutual friends that my wife had. And we came in to fix another company had installed a bunch of simulators, and they'd bought them turnkey, and they'd rocked up and they weren't finished. And so we had to come in and finish it all in like 14 days before they opened. So I basically built 6 simulators from the ground up and did all the software and installation and tuning and venue management software, so you could have one staff member running all 6 sims and stuff. And it was awesome. It was a great experience, and they're a great customer to have. And it's been awesome to be able to work with someone like that, because I got to learn a lot about how a big business functions, and I got to, see some shortfalls in my own business and what I needed to fix. And then I tried to expand into, we were going to do some deals in China, and then I got divorced, and life is life.
Life's life, yeah.
And and thankfully, look, I got back into drifting like just before the business, went sort of not south, but my wife and I separated, and so things changed, and I had to start a new company. And drifting was the one thing that sort of got me through a lot of that shit. Like, every time you go drifting, there's always heaps of mates around. Everyone's willing to help, especially at somewhere like Archie. Yeah. I've never not had something go wrong at Archie and not had like 4 people go, "Hey man, what do you need?" It's a pretty unique place.
It's a great place to drift.
See, that's sort of how I got into Sims. I've worked with guys like Matt Simmons. I used to do a lot of training with Matt in my center in West End. He won the PlayStation GT Academy and raced for Nismo in the GT3 series in Blancpain. I did a fair bit of work with like Tyler Greenbury and Bryn Stewart and Sean Evans and whatnot, and just basically turned into doing driver training. And that's kind of where my Sim's headed. And now when I build them for a purpose. And Ben, you've got one. Travis, you've got one too, don't you?
He did. He just never set it up properly, so he never fully
my TV had a lot of lag.
It was bad.
So I just couldn't use it, and then I moved house, and I was just like, I need a room for an arcade instead. So.
What arcade did you put in?
I've got like a Japanese style arcade, like your what do you call them? Sega Astro City arcade.
Oh, sick!
Yeah. So if you go into a Japanese arcade, but like one from say like the 90s to early 2000s style one, or even as early as like the 80s style Japanese arcades, it's a type of that arcade machine that you'd find in there that you'd play like Street Fighter 2 on, essentially. Or
is it like is it original or is it full of emulator?
It's got an emulator in it. Yeah.
Sweet. So you can play anything you want.
Anything I want.
And you still can't beat me at Street Fighter.
I can beat you at Street Fighter.
No, King of Fighters.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not to do with drifting. So.
But does he just button smash or like?
No, he's a button smasher. He got lucky.
I'm button smasher in King of Fighters. Anyway, back on the drift tours.
So let's start from the beginning of how it got started. So you were telling us that you sort of came up with the idea with your Canadian mates there. So how did it all actually become a thing, as in working from like an idea to actually happening?
Well, so any time, like, you guys have been to Japan before. In the early days when I first started, Travis has. When I first went, it's expensive, man. Like the first time I went, Dude, I spent like 19 grand.
Yeah,
like it was out of control. I drifted for like 2 days, 3 days.
I at least got a week.
Yeah, no, I got like 2 because I wrote my car off, man. So I got like 3 days tops, I think. And shit went wrong, and I didn't know the language or where to go. This was when, like, man, we'd just come out of dial-up. Like, we just got broadband.
Yeah, right. So this is way ages ago.
This is early days,
expensive,
man. Like, yeah, everything was expensive. Everything about the trip was out of control expensive.
What year was this?
And then this was 2006.
Okay, yeah. So like this for setting the scene, there wasn't really a thing at Ebisu for power vehicles. There wasn't like any kind of easy way to do this for people to set the scene.
No, it was like we got lucky because a friend of ours that we went to school with was Japanese, spoke Japanese.
Yeah,
had people, but we didn't get a good deal, dude. Like the 19 grand that I spent, I think 12 of that was on the car.
Yeah. Like, but that'd probably be alright for around 2006, though. Like, depending on your hookup, with car, like, yeah.
Oh, I wasn't good. It was a piece of shit.
No, but I mean, like, it's like what type of car you get, whether it's got registration, that kind of thing. Like it can be quite difficult, especially back then.
Yeah, it had shotgun, but it wasn't a decent car. Like, it was just a dodgy 33, and it was scary.
That's only a 10-year-old car in 2006, though. So
yes, that is true. But it was beaten to shit.
Still got enough for shotgun.
RFB though.
And I loved it. So I guess it started because when we went last year, it was the first time we'd ever experienced it to be easy. One, being able to go over there, and I just sort of went on my own. I was going through some health issues, which I'm still sort of dealing with at the moment. And I was in one of those, one, I had to go there for business anyway, because I had to go and check on parts and visit a supplier. But I went, you know what? I'm just going to double the trip up. And, Samet was like, well, yeah, not really. I didn't spend much, but, well, I did, but I didn't, like, it wasn't much for me at the time comparably, but it was definitely more, it was more than what most people would spend when they go.
So it's a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. Yeah. Drifting's never cheap.
No.
But so, like, we went there, and it just was, especially after meeting Danny, like, we met Danny, and suddenly this gateway opened, and now we had access to any track we wanted. We had a way to get there without any hassle, with a drift car and tires and a support team. Like, 2 mechanics, not one, 2 mechanics come along. And so, like, I think it cost us, what it cost? It cost like 6 grand, 7 grand or something for the 2 drift days. So like 3.5, 4 grand or something, I think it cost us each day that we were drifting. And that was between like 3 of us.
Yep. I think we just lost
internet. Heaps cheaper. Even at this price, we're still only spending like a pop, and we're drifting, and we're not having to worry about, like, if one, we broke the fucking car and it got fixed, and Danny charged us like $100 to go and do this shit, like, to fix it. So car got fixed. We didn't have to worry about having fuel. We didn't have to worry about having tires to drive home on. We didn't have to worry if we were going to get pulled up on a temporary shotgun plate on the way home. It was dodgy. We didn't have to worry if we were running somebody else's plates on the car to drive to and from the track, and we were going to get caught. Like, there's stupid things you do when you're trying to drift cheaply in Japan, and these are all stupid things we did 10 years ago. That's Taka Motegi there, the guy in the background in that sick green JZX.
Yeah.
So, do you remember Taka from when he lived in Australia, Ben?
I've heard stories of him, but I've never actually got to meet the guy.
So. Oh, dude, he's a weapon. That is the loosest unit you'll ever meet.
I'm hoping to meet him one day. That'd be cool.
Oh, you will, man. Yeah, because he'll come on tour with us, or even he'll be coming to Australia later in the year, I think.
That'd be cool.
But he's a unit. He used to drift at Archie. He's a crazy motherfucker.
Hells yeah.
So yeah, it was heaps easy, man. Like, that was the number one thing about it. It was easy. It was cost affordable, and suddenly I'd found a way that, we did one trip and went, man, we can do this again, and we can share this with other people, and like, we found a way that we can go and drift, and we can share it with our friends, we can share it with other people in the community, and it doesn't need to cost 16 grand for one person to go away for a week.
Yeah.
You know, like plus.
Meanwhile, Travis.
That's if you don't need stairs. That's if you don't, you know, go through extra tires. That's if something doesn't go wrong. Like on the most recent tour, we lost 2 engines. The first engine we lost was our SR20 in the 180. The old, maybe the wrong oil filter trick, and you know, you put it on and it threaded, tightened up, and then it
popped off. Yep.
Yeah, so the filter popped off the SR20, and
sick.
And yeah, the engine seized and it died. And so we took it back to the shop that night. Like, this shit's unheard of. We took it back to the shop that night. Me and Danny ripped the engine out. You know, Danny's a weapon. Like, it took us 6 hours to do the engine swap, but I reckon 3 hours of that was him cleaning up while we were going along. Like, we pulled the engine out, and he's like cleaning the floor, cleaning all the oil off the floor, like total Japanese minded. And then we pull the gearbox off the engine, and he cleans the engine with a toothbrush and another brush for like an hour in the freezing cold outside. I'm sitting next to the heater at this point. Like, oh no, I'd put the clutch on. I was doing some other stuff. But by the time he was cleaning the gearbox, I'm like sitting next to the heater trying not to die. And here's Danny out in the freezing cold. Like, pretty sure it was even raining. He was under the awning and he's scrubbing a gearbox because he wants it to be nice and clean when it goes in the car.
Far out. That's insane.
Yeah. I've got videos of that too.
I think the saddest thing is, speaking of like money and 16 grand, is last week I decided to wrongly calculate roughly how much I've spent on cars and drifting in my life. And let's just say I could go and buy a brand new Nissan GTR with that money right now.
Yeah. What I spent last year on drifting, I'd probably have a deposit for a house.
Yeah, I would pretty much be halfway to a house.
Yeah.
Far.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No.
It's not cheap. Like,
No.
And especially when you break shit, like when you go buy your own car in Japan. Let's say you're at Ibisu and you break something. Yeah, you've got power vehicles there. You can possibly get parts. But let's put it in the other situation, which has happened to me a few times at different tracks we've been to. Like the first time I went to Mehan. So we drove the car there. We had to drive back home in the same car. I, like an idiot, was like, oh yeah, I'll just throw my street tires on and I'll do one more run.
One more.
Never call one more.
Then I had to pay to get my car towed back, you know, like
Yeah.
to another garage where I could get it fixed, and then I had to drive it home.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, yeah, anything can go wrong. Anything can go wrong. We had the RB26 blow up at Nico. You know, the oil pump, basically it just got too dry, or not too dry, but from angulation it got starved, and see you later, bye, engine went. Nobody's fault, you know. But if you do that on your own, what are your options?
Yeah.
You've got 2 more days of drifting planning, like it's over. And so, you know, me and Josh sort of looked at each other and we sat down and we planned everything out with Danny and Massa, and we just went, let's do this again. Let's figure out a way to do it. And we did the second one, and, you know, we got the prototype together and we figured out, fuck, we can even do it for cheaper. Because when I first wanted to do this, I was like, I'm going to have to charge 15 grand a person because otherwise it's not viable. And then by going into partnership with Danny and getting the support from his garage and having the cars already there and having everything ready to go, we were able to minimize the costs drastically. Like 10 grand a person ain't a great deal for 2 weeks in Japan, 4 full track days, a whole bunch of tourist sites. Like, man, January last year I spent more than that. Way more than that.
Yeah.
Way. And I did 2 drift days. One was at a skid pan and one was at Mobara. Way more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it came about. It was just about, like, you know, when you find something really cool. Remember in high school, and you might find you find a shop that sells Tarzos, and let's say every packet of Tarzos you bought from there has had sick Tarzos in it. Well, you go and take all your mates to that shop, right? Because you want them to get sick Tarzos too.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about my drift tours. I'm just sharing Tarzos with people.
Hells yeah.
But what if those? What if you open the chip packet and it's a shit Tarzo?
No, this shop that we went to, he used to go and he'd open all the chip packets and he'd get all the good fucking Tarzos, and then you could buy them in little packets.
How good were the Dragon Ball Z ones?
Oh, the Dragon Ball Z
that
ones
is going
were the
way
best.
back.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Do you know what was sick? Military Muscle Men. Do you remember that shit?
Nah, man, you're too old.
Oh. Pokemon cards.
Yeah, Pokemon was lit.
NBA cards. Remember Fleer Ultra X-Men cards?
Nah, man, you're too old.
No.
Suck. I'm pretty old. Aren't we all 80s babies?
No,
Nope.
man, you're the only one. I'm 1990.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and
Look
he's
at
younger
you.
than me.
You just-
Yeah. He's like,
what are you, like,
97, 98?
Yeah, we'll go with
97.
No. I wish. 92.
Shit, that's like 92. Oh, so you're my brother's age. Yeah. So you're 27.
Turning 27.
Yeah, turning 27 this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my little brother's age. No, that's where it started, man. Look, I've got some videos. I'll send them. I wanted to try and send them to you before we did this of the first time we went drifting with Danny, and I got him to do like a one take to promote his international drift rentals, and man, it's the coolest. I'll show it to you guys one time. It's the coolest one take ever because he's. Hang on, see if I can do it. He's like, "So, bro, anywhere, anytime you want to go, man. You come to the big truck and we jump on the wagon, we're rev limit and we have a mad time." And you're like, "You're Japanese, English in Japan."
Does he have a lowrider?
It's hilarious.
Does
It's
he
so
have
funny.
a lowrider and shit? Because I watched a video that CC Zayas put up about all the cholos in
All the
Japan.
cholos in Japan.
Yeah.
All the cholos?
yeah, and the cholo scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking sick.
Man, I'd kill for a lowrider.
Yeah. The Japanese
No, he
lowrider
doesn't
scene
have
is
a
actually
lowrider.
fucking awesome. Like, it actually is
It is actually
fucking
so cool.
legit. So, yeah.
Every scene in Japan is awesome, man.
Yeah, like that's
Bosuku-
it. Like, man, if you own a lowrider, you fucking dress like a lowrider, you fucking sound like one, you listen to the music, you fucking everything.
Man, every
Your life,
day,
that is
you
your life.
Dailying in Impala, just listening to Hispanic rap the entire way to work would be amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
it's like
but that's
you-
your life, you know.
Oh, straight up, they're so otaku about it. Like
Yeah.
everything they do, they just
Yeah.
go full ball.
Yeah.
Like, have you been to Moon Eyes Trav
Yeah,
in Japan?
Yeah.
Bro, the Moon Eyes Cafe. The two
Yeah.
dudes that were there, I don't know if they own it, but the two dudes that were there when we were there in January, they're sitting out and they've got like the slick back Elvis cuts,
Yeah, man.
and they've
yeah.
got like chops and just the maddest. Like they're so dressed.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's 1950s.
Yeah,
Sick.
but even like the Bosozoku, you know, like everything about your life is Bosozoku. Like that is just all you fucking do.
Oh, straight
It's your
up.
whole
That's it.
fucking
If you're
life.
Japanese,
Yeah.
and you like something and you commit to it, that's
If you play golf,
Yeah.
your fucking life is golf. Like that is it.
Oh,
There is
dude, if you
nothing
play
else but
badminton-
golf. Like
that's it.
yeah,
You know what else is
all the
huge over
ping
there?
pong players. Ben played professional.
Oh,
Ping
yeah,
pong,
this
you
dude.
know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
like,
can confirm it was my
Yeah.
only thing in life for a while there. It was pretty scary.
anyway,
Yeah, well, we've got a pong table at our office now. You'll have to come and play me.
Yeah, I'm keen. Let's play.
Yeah, you'll kick my ass, but like I'll give it a
he'll
crack.
bet you a trip to Japan for free.
You think I'm gonna take?
I'll,
Bro,
I'll give you a handicap. How about that?
you could give me the biggest handicap in the world, and I don't think I would win.
Exactly.
that's
Take
like
the
Conor-
deal, baby.
Wait, what if I play
Mayweather.
left-handed? We'll make it up. We'll be good. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Even if I had some skill, it's like Conor McGregor and Mayweather, bro. Like, I'm just gonna get destroyed. Play hard.
Oh,
All
jeez.
right. Next question.
All right, I want to ask. So I don't know if it's written down.
Go for it.
Obviously, so I was looking through your upcoming thing, which has been showing up in our background, and it is
Yep.
4th of April to the 18th of April. I looked through
Yeah,
that.
that's it.
There's only actually 5 days of actually drifting at a track. So
Yeah.
there's obviously another 13 days in that trip. What do you do?
Yes. So how it works, right, is there's actually four track days that are in that. So
Okay.
we're going to be doing Yamanashi, Mikawa, Honjo, and Meihan, I believe.
Yeah.
And
I thought there
so
was
how it works
Suzuka in
is
that too.
no, sorry, not Honjo, Suzuka. Yeah, we're doing Suzuka Twin.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, we're doing Suzuka Twin. So how we kind of segment it is like you guys, we land basically. I meet up with everyone. We fly from Brizzy. We go to Japan or Gold Coast, however we're flying out. We get to the airport. We get picked up in a mad van, and then we have a cruise. We'll probably have some Zero Strongs on the way because we won't be driving. And and we'll go to the workshop and we'll meet the crew and we'll have dinner. I'll introduce you guys, whoever comes on the tour, I'll introduce you to Danny and Massa, who are going to be helping us out most of the time. Introduce you to a whole bunch of my mates that we got over there that'll come drifting with us as well. Introduce you properly to the coaches, so like Andy and Luke and myself, and Danny. And then we go and eat heaps of food and get sake and get wasted and then go to the hotel. Then essentially we just go and sightsee. We go and take you guys to the places. Sorry, I'm just bringing up the website so I can see my actual schedule. Just give me 2 secs.
Yep.
So that I'm not talking blind.
Probably should have pre-prepared and actually had this up.
I should have, but yeah, I did know it all and my brain's done that crazy stuff. So yeah, 4th of April we'll arrive. 5th of April we're going to do like a tour of the SDF tuning workshop, meet the coaches, all that sort of stuff. Then we're going to go and check out like Up Garage, and we'll go and check out mountain roads. So we might go to Hakone, we might go to Haruna. It depends on how much time we have in the day after we go to Moon Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Most days though, we're up at like basically as early as you guys want. So if the whole group wants to get up at fucking 7 a.m. and go exploring, like we'll get up at 7 a.m. But if you guys got tanked the night before and you want to sleep in, we'll leave at 10. It just means our day will be longer, provided that we don't have a track day the next day. We're normally out most nights until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, that sort of shit.
The only good thing about that is like most shops don't open till 10 anyway, so
yeah, most shops don't open till 10, and also nothing shuts. So like
until like 8 or 10, so yeah.
Or more so in the fact that there's bars, there's 7-Elevens, there's stuff, there's food everywhere.
Yeah.
So we'll go it's one of the first things we'll do is we'll go to Up Garage, and Up Garage is obviously not one. Like when we went Up Garage touring in January, we probably went like 3 or 4 different days. We went to go and check out different Up Garages, and we saw like 12 or 15 or something, including the mega one in the middle of Yokohama.
Yep.
And like, bro, Up Garages, it never gets old. Like, it never gets boring. There's always cool shit in there.
Yeah.
I found a Power FC hand controller for my 20. I've been looking for a Power FC hand controller for like 2 years. That was working and not broken. What else? The boys found shirts, wheels. We found all these epic, naughty, rubber center, like soft center wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So road legal ones here. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do Up Garage. We'll do mountain drives. Then we do Yamanashi Sports on the 7th. Now, all the dates I'm mentioning, due to track availability and various other things, sometimes they might shift around. So we might not do Yamanashi on the 4th. On the 7th. We might do Yamanashi, the day after we arrive. We might do Yamanashi on the 9th. There's a few different events we're trying to work into, and it just depends which slots are available as to where we end up. Mm-hmm. It also depends if we have, 10 people come on the tour, or if we have 5 people come on the tour, or if we have 3 people come on the tour. We're going to then change what we're doing, because if we've only got 3 people coming, we're not going to be doing 4 track days. There's not enough budget in it. Like I said, we don't make a great deal of money out of it, so we'll probably change it up. But we'll always still do minimum of 2. So yeah, we'll go to Up Garage, we'll go to Yamanashi Sportsland. Then we try and have either 1 to 2 days between each track event that we're doing. One, because if a car gets broken, we need time to repair it. If something goes wrong, the likelihood that we can get it turned around in 24 hours is usually pretty minimal, so we give ourselves 48 hours to do that. So 8th of April, we're probably going to head to Suzuka early and stay the night in Suzuka. And go and check out, a few different garages. We've got some friends with workshops around there that we're going to go and see. Luke's arranging some potential meetups. I'm not going to drop any names of guys yet because we don't have anything confirmed, but we're going to Mayhan, so we're having a chat with a few regulars that go to Mayhan and see if they can come along with us. And then, we're trying to catch up with some guys in Mikawa that Luke knows. Because it's going to be awesome, like to get to meet pro drivers and really sick workshops that you've always wanted to.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. We went to BR last time, like there was some sick stuff. So we'll go to Suzuka early. We'll stay the night in Suzuka. and then because we'll be drifting probably the next day, we won't be getting hammered. We'll probably be in bed by. I try to be in bed by like 10.
You're old.
But probably. I'm old, yeah. I'm George Lucas old over here. So then we'll get up at like 7 a.m. in the morning because we're already in Suzuka. We'll drive to the track. We'll be on track by about 8 a.m. We'll be drifting by 9 a.m. and we'll drift all the way through till like 4 or 5 o'clock at night, I think it is. Have you guys seen Suzuka Twin? You've seen the track layout? I'm really excited about that. It should be a really good tandem track.
Yeah, it should be awesome. Are they going to run both forward and reverse layouts, or?
Normally they do. So normally whenever we check onto a track day, particularly if we're doing a private day, which most of these will be, and we're aiming to get Suzuka for a private day. So if we get it for a private day, it means that we can run whatever we want, essentially. If we end up going there and it's like a theme day, let's say Z Garage or someone's running an actual day, we sort of go with the flow of them. But Japanese drift days are set up very differently to Australian drift days. So they usually do change the layouts quite frequently. They run them in 15-minute segments only. So you'll run from like on the hour to quarter past, and then quarter past to half past, or you'll run half hours. And they'll split you up in groups. So that'll be that. Then we're going to hang around again in Suzuka for another day and go and check out some more stuff. Or, depending on how that goes, we might just head straight to Mikawa. Depends on what... Essentially, the thing we try and do with the tours is we check with you guys. So every morning when we wake up, we have an itinerary of stuff that we're going to do. And we go, right, guys, this is what we want to do, but it's flexible. So if, let's say, all 10 people in the group go, we don't actually want to do that, we want to go check something else out, we can just rotate it around. We've always got about 4 or 5 different options.
Hells yeah.
Then, so, any questions about
that? No, that sounds pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, sick. So then we're going to go to Mikawa, and we're going to do the Mikawa Drift Day. And Mikawa is a sick track. You look like you're smiling. I can't really tell, Benno, if you're smiling because you're all pixelated on my end, and it just looks like you've got a permanent.
I like Mikawa Sportsland. I've like these are all tracks that I've like grown up getting into drifting and watching, like Meihan, Yamanashi, Mikawa, Nikko, Ebisu. All those are like the tracks that got me into drifting, and like you're talking about driving there, and I'm just like, I want to drive there.
Oh, dude, Yamanashi is a sick track. It's
like my number 1 bucket list track. So like me and one of my good mates, Rob, he has a 8.6 as well. And we were talking about it just before he went over to Japan. We were going to Yamanashi and all that. So, that'd be sick.
No, Yamanashi is awesome, man. And like the cars that we've got set up, particularly the S15 and the 180, I don't normally like SRs because in Australia, every SR I've ever had has sucked and blown up. But Danny builds a really good SR, and holy shit, have they got a fair bit of oomph for just a little T28.
Yeah, like 110 octane premium will fucking help that, though.
It makes a huge difference, man. Like, making 297 PS, and like 13-pounder boost, like, it's mental. Like, no matter how you want to look at it, it's still 290-something horsepower at the wheels with just a T28, and like an ECU. It's mental.
Yeah.
So we'll do Mikawa. One of the reasons why we segment it this way is like we start at Yamanashi, then we go to Suzuka, then we go to Mikawa, then we finish Meihan. The reason that we always segment sort of it's staggered. We go, here's a nice beginner track. Yamanashi, whilst it's a sick track, you can run it in a way that you can learn quite a lot from it, and you can take amateurs there and you can get a lot out of it. And so whilst we don't specify that we deal with just amateurs, we can take anyone over. Like when you've got someone like Luke, we've got very different training levels. Yeah, we've got like myself as a coach, we've got Andy as a coach, we've got Danny as a coach, we've got Luke as a coach, and I'll be able to teach you something in a way that you'll pick it up. Luke can compound on that and break that down into such a different level that you will find so much more. So what we're trying to do is set it up that we can launch you on Yamanashi. Let's say we get a couple of guys that have never drifted before. We get a couple of guys that have been drifting for a couple of years. We get some guys that compete quite a lot. And then we get some dudes that are coming along that are like, I just want to get as much door-on-door action as possible, Like when Andy came and when Ben Nodges came. Like those two dudes were just ripping the whole time. David Lee made just immense improvements in 3 track days. Like we drove 3 track days, and he went from having his skill at Archie, he could throw his car quite well around Archie in his 33, getting taken out of that world and getting put into totally different cars that he'd never driven before. He had this really nice progression to when we were at Nico and he jumps in the JZX and he is like ripping the whole track to pieces like a demon. And then he comes back to Archerfield and is tipping in at the tires and clutch kick entries now instead of handbrake drags. Like, he improved out of sight. I think there's a video on our side of a side-by-side of his driving. But so we sort of aim to be able to take any level, any skill level over there and give you an experience that you're going to come out of with new skills. You know, like I've been drifting for a while now, and you know, I'm not fucking amazing, but I'm no slouch. But one coaching, one small 5-minute sitting in the car with Fink at Honjo with him tandeming with Ueno changed my entire perception of how to tandem. Like, I suddenly saw lines that I've never seen before. I saw braking points and entry zones that I'd never even thought about putting a car in. Like, this dude, you're on transition and he's already on your door as you're finishing the transition. Like, it's bullshit. Fuck you, Luke.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I have something to add to that too. Is like I went passenger on the big track at the big fast track at Ebisu, which is Higashi, and
Higashi.
Yeah, and I went passenger in a old dude. He would have been like, I don't know. He looked really old and he was Japanese, so like he could have been 100. You know, but he was like, it was probably around like 55 to 60. And all the Japanese people, they couldn't speak English, but all they could say was a Drift King. And I'm like, you know, just because he's got an A86, that means he's a Drift King. Hop in this car, it's a factory silver top 20 valve notchback. And it was slightly damp track, but we were just lock to lock, bullshit fast on this track. And it just going passenger with someone like that, it just changes your whole perspective on driving, and you're just like, I am fucking shithouse. Like, I've got just when you think you're getting to that point where you're like, I'm pretty good, you know, I'm decent, you know. You hop in someone like that, and you're just like, fuck, that suck. I got a long way to go before I get 100%. To this like 100-year-old fucking Japanese dude's level of driving. Like, you know, like, so yeah, having a coach definitely, like, that would be even next level than just like going in passenger with someone like that, you know. So
yeah, I mean, it also definitely opens up possibilities to see stuff that you can't see while you're focusing on the track. Because like, I mean, even you helped me at Archie with the 8.6. Like, I was railing handbrake when I really should have been using foot brake, and then that just changed the whole layout for me, and the car drove so much nicer there.
Yeah, exactly.
But just something you can't think about while focusing on the track, you know, like,
yeah.
Pointers.
Yeah, it's always good to have that outside perspective. Like,
did you just get wake what?
Drifting? Something that you said before, it's kind of rung true with me, Trav. It's like, you know, you think drifting is like this. You're like, oh yeah, I'm drifting now, and I'm amazing. And where you think you are, you're actually here. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm fucking sick, but you're level.
Yeah.
And it's the thing where, like, that one day, you know, I try and say to people, like, whenever you're drifting, try and imagine you're eating a pie, right? And it's like a giant family pie. You can't eat the whole fucking thing in one serving. It'll make you sick. So it's the same with drifting. Like, if you think of it as a pie, you try and eat small pieces of the pie until, you know, you can figure out what you're doing with the car. And it's so humbling because even if you're only increasing by 5%, there's always going to be that day where you get to the 5% that's too far and you hit the wall at Archie, or you go into the barricade at Ibisu and go under the fucking the foamy poops into the wall, or you go back into the wall at Mahan, or, you know, you jump over the barrier at Archie many years ago before Luke took over it and I sucked. You know, you run out of skill, and it's one of the, like, I relate drifting to martial arts. I've done martial arts my whole life. You know, I competitively fought for a long time and at quite a good level. And there's, like, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for me was always this one thing where you went and did it and you had to be fucking humble, because in 10 seconds flat, a black belt could fucking choke you out on cold, right? And drifting's exactly the same. Like, if you get too arrogant and you lose that humility and you forget where you are, next minute you ride a car off at Archie, or, you know, you fucking bin someone in a comp. Like it's always got this way of going, you're not as good as you think you are. You're not as good as you think you are.
Yeah.
And like sitting in the passenger seat with Luke at Honjo and just going, fuck, I suck. Like,
but it's like
so far.
How would you explain your adventure when you versed the 12-year-old in Korea in ping pong?
Yes. See, yeah, that's actually, yeah. So when I was playing table tennis professionally,
and this is like a professional level, like Ben was paid to go to Germany to play professionally.
I got looked after playing in Germany, and
I love this story.
I was, my coach was like, yeah, you're getting good, like you're beating everyone here, so I'm gonna send you to Korea, and you're gonna go train at this table tennis school. And everyone's really friendly to me. I went there, met everyone. They're all like playing nice with me, and then they go, okay, so now you're going to play a game with this guy. And it's like this little 12-year-old who can barely see over the table. And, you're sitting there like, cool, I'm like X number in Australia. I'll be fine, Start playing. And then you're like 7-0 down. You're like, oh, shit. And like this kid, I'm not joking, his eyes were just over the table. He was like swinging a racket up here and he was like wiping the floor with me. I'm like, uh-oh. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely when you have that wake up call, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up. So I guess that's why we sort of developed the tours that way. So, you go to Yamanashi, we can analyze where you're at skill wise, because I'll always take someone on face value, right? I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt. But there's been heaps of times since doing this and previous experience with doing drift coaching and whatnot and driver coaching in general, is you get people that say, I'm sick at this. I'm amazing. I know what I'm doing. And then you put them in the car and they crash, or, they can't do what they've said they can do. So the reason, like for instance, last trip we went to Fuji first, then we went to Honjo, then we went to Nikko. We were meant to go to Mobara in the middle, but shit stopped us from doing that, right? So we did that because Fuji is perfect. It's all open space. All the instructors can see you at all times. You can have someone in the car with you whenever you want, and it's very minimal risk.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's fast, right? It's like Fuji, you can fuck a car up big time if you're not paying attention. But you can also drive to your own limits. If you don't want to push hard, you don't have to. If you don't want to flick in from the first ripple strip into the bottom corner, like, you don't have to. And so that's kind of why we stagnate that way. And Yamanashi is very much the same. We can segment you in beginners, and we can make sure that you're learning at your own pace and you're not getting pushed too hard, because the aim of it is, one, for you to have fun. Like, everything about our trips is about having an insane amount of fun. Like,
yeah,
the boys will attest to it. We had an amazing time. Like, it's the more stupid things that happen, the better it is. Like, I love stupidity and insanity. Driving race cars with friggin' temporary shock arm plates, to the tracks is awesome.
Hell yeah. I want to experience that.
Going drive, yo, dude, it's insane. Like, we didn't get to do Toge while we were there, but like, I took the boys on some Toge drives before Luke and Gianna arrived. But we didn't actually go to run Toge, which we're definitely keen to do. We don't condone you breaking the speed limits.
Said no one ever. Hey, quick one about the speed limit and Hakone. What's the go there? Like,
what do you mean?
Can you just fucking do whatever you want? Like, because... No, there's like speed cameras, cops.
There's not speed cameras, so you can pretty much get away with whatever you feel comfortable with. But like, cops do patrol it.
Yeah.
They definitely patrol it. There's a lot more at the moment. Like, to go and do Toge and drift.
I'm not even talking drift. I'm just talking like
a spirited drive.
A very spirited drive.
Oh, a spirited drive, dude. A very spirited drive is perfectly fine. Like, I've had many a very spirited drive.
I'm just specifically talking Hakone.
Hakone, look, Hakone at the moment has got a lot of heat. Hakone and Haruna have got a lot of heat at the moment because of the Olympics. And they're like, there's way more cops on it now than I've ever seen there before.
Yeah.
Way more. So, but in saying that, there's nothing wrong with driving. You can certainly drive anywhere you want. And as long as you're not doing anything stupid in front of the police, you're fine. Like, do what you want at your own risk. But it's definitely something everyone should try. You should definitely do a spirited drive around Hakone. And when you're driving on Hakone, if you see a little road that looks like it's going to be fun, but it's not on your map, it's going to be fun. Chances are it'll be a dead end, though. So whether or not you want to go down there and have to turn around and drive a one-way exit out, that's up to you. But there are some awesome roads there. And yes, we definitely do go and drive the mountains. What you do is of your own free will and volition. And spirited is okay.
I like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So essentially how the tours go is like we segment them. So we're going Yamanashi, then we'll go to Suzuka because it's the next step up as far as skill of a track is concerned. And then Suzuka to Mikawa is another step up again. And then obviously Mikawa to Meihan. No one's really going to be fucking prepared for that. It's a massive step. Like there's no other track anywhere in the world like Meihan.
Yeah.
And like if there's any tour we're probably going to have a car fucking totaled on, it will be when we're at Meihan. But in saying that, we've never had anyone total a car. We always try and encourage with the guys that come on the tour to drive to your limits. Like, don't drive beyond them. We've got other drifting days to do. We're not here to be heroes. You know, you've got 8 hours on track. You don't need to go out there in the first hour and try and do a backy at Meihan.
No.
Pretty simple. Like, but we're not going to stop you. If you want to go and do that, go and do it. But you know, we're pretty sensible about it, and all the guys that came on the tour last time were very sensible about it too. So that's kind of why we stagnate it that way. So we're aiming to basically rock up in Japan, do a few days of sightseeing, see some cool shit, go to Moon Eyes, go to Big Bang Go-Karts. Big Bang Go-Karts is sick. Have you been to Big Bang, Travis?
No, we were meant to, but Daikoku took over that time slot.
Oh, well. So the first time we went to Big Bang with Luke and T and the boys, there was, I think, 7 or 8 of us, 9 of us maybe. I think there was a few other people. Maybe did Taka come along? I don't think Taka come along. But we had some other people with us. We had a big group of us. I think there was 8 of us. And they let us stupidly, they let all of us to have the little go-karts in Big Bang at the same time. And so we were just fucking throwing in 360s and like throwing 5 at a time and trying to get trains going and smashing the shit out of these go-karts. To the point where they came over and they're like, you know, no hitting. And then the next time we came back, they wouldn't let us have any more than 3 go-karts on track at once.
So you guys ruined it for everyone.
Yeah, we ruined it for everybody. We got sick video of it though. It was fun.
That's all that matters.
We were like passing the GoPro from like with 6 of us tip in, and then we try and pass the GoPro between us before we like spun out and crashed. Because it's pretty hard to do. So the point is, we want to try and have a couple of days before and then go and do, you know, basically 8 days. So four drift days, drift day, rest, drift day, rest, drift day, rest sort of thing. And then we spend the last half of the tour, so from about the 14th through to when we head home on the 18th, doing stuff like more Mount Hakone drives. We're going to go see BR and Moon Eyes. We're going to go to a Tomei tour. The Tomei factory is epic. Have you been to the Tomei factory?
I got the full tour through there. Yeah, it's awesome.
Did you get to see the prototype room?
Like the machine shop where they build the engines, where they tune them, that kind of stuff.
Did you see the engine dyno they have?
Yeah.
Boy, how sick is that?
Even just like them just grinding away cams and stuff there, you know, like yeah.
It was pretty sick. We saw some really cool stuff there. They had one of their what are those engines called? You know, the 34 RB26 full Tomei builds that they build. What are they called?
No, I don't know. But at the time when I was there, they were tuning the dude who ran the Rocket Bunny Cafe at Yokohama. He was a Formula Drift driver, and they were building his white Tomei JZX 100 Mark II. They were tuning it at Tomei on the day that I was there.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, that was
That's
pretty
sick.
Cool. Yeah. But his name eludes me at the moment. But yeah, he was who was running the Rocket Bunny Cafe, and I think then it went to Rev Steak, and now it's I don't even know if it even is there anymore. I can't remember.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hells yeah. Oh, that's rad.
Yeah.
I want to go see some shots. That's
yeah.
It's only something I've ever like seen through the little like portal of the internet that we get to see Japan, and so like being able to see all that stuff in person and actually go there with somebody that knows the area would be like top, like You're not there just
Well, it was
guessing
awesome.
it.
Like, yeah, I think one of the cool parts about it is like I do know a few people over there, and I've been able to like organize some cool stuff for tours in the past. But having Luke come along, come along with us in January, just really opened my eyes to like how many people that dude knows. Because he opened doors for us to do stuff that we just didn't expect, and that was sensational. And it's other than our friendship, it's definitely one of the reasons why obviously Luke's going to be involved with every tour because it was amazing. Like, and who doesn't want to hang out with like one of the best drifters in the world and learn from him? Like, I'd be stupid not to want to do that and not to be able to share that with people. And then we're also looking at giving opportunities. Like, for instance, Andy Sparks that came over last time. When we whacked Andy in the S15 at Fuji, the first time he drove the car, like the first time out on track, he's ripping backies, and Massa turns to me to start off, and then he goes, "That young kid's amazing. Like, we need to put him in D1." And then about an hour and a half later, which it's obviously a statement, it's not a definitive possibility, but about an hour and a half later, Danny turns around and comes to me and he goes, "Dude, we're definitely finding a way to enter Andy into KGCG's new comp, Drift Kingdom or Drift, whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's a new one." And so he's like, "Well, we'll just have a look." And so one of the reasons why also that I wanted to do this, which we've spoken about this before, is a major focus on my not-for-profit. Like, if I have an opportunity to help someone in their career and make it go further, like if I've got a spare part or I've got a connection that I can use to help somebody get further in their career, I've always been the sort of dude to do that. So I already knew that Andy was shit hot. I'd seen him drive in Australia, and I'd seen what the kid can do at Archie, and like he was sick. And then to watch him just fucking explode in Japan and start tossing these cars around that he's never driven before and just getting on door with everyone was sensational. And then to have my two best friends and business partners turn around and go, "We want to find a way to put this kid into comps over here and pave the way for him." We then went, well, that's another avenue. Like, that's another thing we can do. We're definitely going to come into contact with people through these tours that want an opportunity to go somewhere further. And if we are the vessel to help them do that, like 100% what we want to do. So I actually invited Andy. Andy's coming back on the next tour as a coach. And Andy and I were not friends before this tour. This wasn't like a favoritism thing. We literally, we'd met at Archie a few times and I'd seen him drive, but we didn't know each other until this tour, and we built quite a good friendship. The guy's a larrikin. He's an awesome dude. He's a really talented drifter, and he's very humble, so it was good fun. And so now what we're trying to do is we're actually putting a plan together to get him competing during this year over in Japan and chuck him in a few comps and see how he goes, and then build a plan to get him competing again next year and sort of turn it into something based on that, So that's been a really good, amazing opportunity as well. It's like we now have the ability through our workshop and through our tours to, sponsor this guy, bring him over and put him in comps.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is sick. I didn't expect that. But yeah, that's just one of the things that we definitely want to do, and that's a side effect of having these tours is we're going to come across people with that kind of talent.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Like, that's an insane opportunity. Like, that's rad. Fuck yeah. No, that'd be sick. Like, hopefully he actually does get like a proper spot there. That'd be awesome to see someone from like Australia, New Zealand go over there and do well. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's definitely something we're going to try and do. Like, the thing about the Japanese is when they say they're going to do something, they're not. It's not. You know how you've had mates in the past like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this for you," and it never happens. If a Japanese business guy says to you, "I'm gonna do this,"
I'm gonna kill you.
Like I'm gonna kill you. No, but if they say, "Look, we're gonna do this business deal," like you're doing that business deal, it's happening. So for Danny and Massa to both turn around and go, "That kid's got amazing talent," and they didn't just say it about Andy, like they freaked out over Luke, and they're like, "We have to put him in a car. Like we need to get him over here and competing." But that's obviously Luke Fink. It's like the dude's expected to drive that well. But when Andy shocked us like that, to have them turn around and commit and go, "Hey, we definitely want to help do something with this guy," like that was sensational. It was amazing validation for New Zealand talent. It's amazing validation for Australian talent because there's opportunity there,
100%. Especially because we don't really have any way to get out there. We don't have any proper big international recognized drift comps anymore, like that had the big budget like ADGP, Like,
we basically got the tap,
Yeah, and like DCA is probably the most you know.
It does send you overseas in
Oh,
DCA.
look,
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest event. And
DCA's definitely done the most for it. I mean, look,
Yeah.
they've sent they've sent 3 or 4 different dudes over to comps now as prizes.
Exactly. So
I think Dale Campaign's been twice. Someone else has been like 3 times.
yeah. So like, other than DCA, we don't really have anything else in Australia anymore. So it's good to see that
No, look, you've got high tech and stuff, and there's nothing wrong with the other comps. I think all comps in Australia are great for drifting, and like I'm not against any comp that we have in the country. I think anything that helps promote our sport and helps push it to the next level is good. But I will say this: like, name another comp that's had a season winner come through, and they've sent them internationally in the last 2-3 years. Name another comp that's sent drivers internationally from Australia from winning a local grassroots comps and then giving them an opportunity to drift at an international level.
Like, there's nothing for like grassroots people to be able to step into. You got to have the budget to go already. And that's what's so awesome about DCA is that it doesn't matter if you drive your car on the street, you can go there and you can compete and you have equal opportunity as everybody else. And that's
100%, man. And like, it also helps that Luke and T are incredibly generous people. The crew at the track as well are incredible. Like, don't get me wrong, right? And when I say this, I don't want to start an argument, and I don't want people to jump in on this. It's just as my stupid, not talented opinion, right? But I drifted at QR for a long time before I found Archie. I used to drift at Archie back in the day when it was shit and tiny, and I hated it, and I crashed, and I didn't want to drift there anymore. And so I started drifting at QR. And then when I got back into it after 10 years of having a gap, I went to Archie before Luke took it over, and I just didn't really want to drive there, so I drove at QR, and I drove there with my 350, and I had some really good times, but like I never really got a great deal of time on track. There was always heaps of time waiting in the queue. It sort of felt like there wasn't good eyes on incidents. It'd take 15-20 minutes sometimes to clear a car, which, not judging anyone because every job is difficult. This is just an experience thing. I'm not commenting on the skills of anyone, particularly at QR, right? I go to Archie and fuck, man, I'm on track all the time, constantly on track.
Yeah.
Heaps more drifting time. Shit broke. The first time I broke my car at Archie, Luke gave me parts to fix it for free. The second time I fucked my car up, another guy had coil packs to help me. Another dude gave me an LCA. I had fucked a lot of shit up at QR and never had I had a person help me out of especially if I didn't know them. I'd had mates that were there to help me, but not people I didn't know. The first time I ever went to Archie, I crashed my car. I broke my LCA. Luke, I think it was Luke. I think Luke gave me a spare LCA or something. It was either an LCA or a tie rod, so I could get my car and enjoy drifting the night. He never asked me to pay for it, and just sorted me out. So that was my first experience. I'm going to go back to Archie. And so when you look at the comps, like Cash Kings, for instance, when I first did Cash Kings last year, I rented Tiana's car from her, and I was shitting myself, man, because I knew that someone else had already driven that car once and crashed it, and they'd fucked it up for her, and she'd never enjoyed driving that car since. And I was like, fuck, I'm renting a car. So all day in the back of my head, jumping into basically my first actual big sort of comp that I'd ever been in. The only other comps I'd done before that was like a DCA round 1 of the State Series and round 3 of the State Series, and then I think I did Drift Masters either before or after. I think it was before. So I did Drift Masters, and then I jumped into Cash Kings. And like Cash Kings was one of the first events I did where I was shitting myself. So in the back of my head, I'm like, this is insane. It's big cash money. I'm not going to win it, but fuck, this is insane. And then I've got this other thing in the back of my head going, don't crash Tiana's car. Don't crash Tiana's car. Don't crash Tiana's car. And then Ken Gucci crashes into me.
One of the top drivers in the world crashes into you.
Top drivers in the world. And I was like, that's sick. That's amazing. I love that. But fuck, I just crashed Tiana's car. So I go up to her, I'm like, T, can I buy your car off you? I've got cash right now. Like, I'll buy your car. She's like, no, I'm not selling it. I went, all right, I'll swap you and before I'd even finished saying my 86, she's like, boom, Jake's fucking swap's done, right? So she gets my notch back, which is in Yokohama.
Oh,
she gets my 86.
That's...
Yeah.
No, wait, you mean the one in Japan or the one in her that she has here?
No, the one in Japan.
Okay,
so
yeah.
One in Japan, I swapped that to her for the one deal. Right? And it's a mint car, caged, FC RX7 brake upgrade, like diff, everything. Well, it's a sick car. Anyway, so I swapped it for this one Via for many reasons. One, man, I could drive the fucking thing, and if I crashed it was my fault. It didn't matter, and I didn't have anyone to answer to. That was one. And then two, we'd all broken our cars at that time, so a bunch of us ended up using the car like a slut all of last year. So anyway, I finally get the car, and I'm like, yeah, sick. I crashed the car twice that day. She never said shit to me. Once we did it, like she did an on-site deal with me, man, to swap her car without ever actually knowing that car was real. You know what I mean? Like, you'd seen a photo of it, you'd seen me with it in Japan, but you didn't know that car was real. And she's like, boom, swap. And then off I go, and I'm able to compete in DCA. I've never had a bad experience at Archie. I've had heaps of bad experiences at a lot of other tracks. And I think they've done a great job of building what's more like a family, tribal, clan sort of atmosphere, as opposed to the bullshit, bickering, fucking horribleness that happens in the drifting world, if that makes sense. Rant over.
I mean, you just need to surround yourself with better people when you go to tracks other than Archie.
I go to other tracks as well. Like, I go to, like, Raleigh, and I do enjoy QR. But what
Raleigh.
Yeah,
please,
Raleigh.
I'm from Raleigh. That's my hometown. It's literally, I live like
Raleigh,
10 minutes away. It's
Wait,
Raleigh.
Sick, man.
It's just Raleigh.
Raleigh.
Can people
Raleigh?
just like
Raleigh,
Raleigh, Australia, WRC, World Rally Championship it's Raleigh. There's no Y in there. There's no Y.
He feels very passionate about this subject. Let's move on.
Start saying it fucking correctly.
I found something to push your buttons with. I'm going to push your buttons for this all the time. I'm going to be like, hey man,
you just gave him ammo now. This is great.
We just had Jacob Peck on, and I watched his video from Raleigh, and he's like, yeah, we're going to Raleigh. And I'm like, fuck me, god damn it.
All right,
that's it. Bro, after him calling people out on that, I'm calling you out. Say fucking Raleigh correctly. It's fucking Raleigh. There's no Y in there. Fuck's sake.
No, it's Raleigh. Raleigh, all right, Raleigh?
Raleigh. Just say it like World Rally Championship. Rally.
But it's not Rally Championship. World Rally Championship should be RALLY, motherfucker.
Moving on.
Next time we're drifting together, just remember this and give me a nudge.
Yeah, bro, if I ever drift your cars in Japan, I'll be like, fucking rallying off the track.
You'll take it rally jumping.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Remember that. You ever let me in your car. Remember
that. I will remember that. I will.
Alright, let's hit him up with the next question.
We're pretty much at the end of our question now. So let's talk a bit about the not-for-profit that you're building.
Well, do we want to tie up the drift tours?
Actually, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, so like just so people know, what's like the rough costs, how often are you doing it, how many cars are available, and how many people come?
Yeah, cool. All right, so the cost is $10,000 Australian per person that comes along. The only time that changes is if you are coming from the States. If you're coming from the States, we charge you $10,000 US. Well, it's about $8,500 US. But the reason we do that is because we then have to pay for your tickets in Australian currency. Like, it's a nightmare. So we just get you to pay in US, because then we buy your tickets in US because we're flying you out of the States, and it makes everything easier.
You better say what the 10,000 includes too.
Yeah, well, so $10,000, essentially for $10,000, you get your flights. So you get return flights to and from. You get all of your accommodation, right? And we will stay, particularly this next tour, we're probably going to stay in like 4 or 5 different places as we travel around. And so you get all your accommodation. You get food on track days, right? So we give you a food allowance on track days. We give you up to 1,500 yen to spend on your food per day on a track day, and we cover that. You get tires and fuel for each of the track days, and then you get access to the cars, you get access to coaches, you get obviously track and mechanical support, you get coaching, and you get an amazing sick time. Like, absolutely everything you can think of is covered. The only thing you have to spend money on is if you want to buy cool shit from the places we go to, or if you want to buy yourself, food and stuff when we're not on a track day.
I'm pretty sure that's not a choice. I think you gotta eat when you're not on it.
What's that? Sorry.
I think you gotta eat on those other 14 days. So
but you know what I mean.
It's not
like,
that's if you want to eat on those days. It's you just pay for your food on those days.
Well, maybe some people might be budget cut. They might just be not wanting to eat.
Look, I mean, you can live on $2 bloody like cup ramen every day. Like I did when I was in Ebisu because I couldn't afford much
you can
more.
Those $1 chicken things, man. 7-Eleven, the dollar chicken thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 3 of them.
Pizza
you go in
chips.
like after
Just
12
live on
o'clock,
pizza
3 of them.
chips. They're fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, those pizza chips are mad. The little Japanese shop down the road from me got them.
Oh, what?
So good. They don't
Really?
have
Buy
any
me
left.
some. Ah.
You know the strawberry and cream sandwiches, like the actual cut in half strawberries.
No,
and
because
cream
I hate
sandwich?
red bean, so I just like I don't want to make the mistake. I've made it before, and I've gone. That looks like fucking strawberry pancakes. It was fucking red bean
Why
pancakes.
so much hate on the red bean? It doesn't even
Oh,
taste bad.
fuck off.
Red bean.
Yeah, bro, what's
Nah,
wrong with
you-
red bean?
Nah.
You-
Red
you
bean,
can't
see, red
mistake
bean
these,
tastes bad if you're expecting it to taste like strawberry
Anything
when you
can
take a
taste
bite.
If you're expecting
Another
something-
word of caution about strawberry in Japan is don't buy fucking milk in a can from a vending machine. That's the weirdest shit ever. Like, seriously, milk
It's
in
amazing.
like in an aluminium can, drinking milk out of an
Yeah,
aluminium.
it's so good.
No, man, like it. I bought it.
Have
I'm
you
like,
had the
oh,
see-through tea?
strawberry soda. Oh, what is this shit? It's fucking milk.
Have you had the see-through tea?
No, I don't drink tea. I've
You
never
know, 'cause
tasted
it's
it.
tea, and it's meant to be like white milk tea, but it looks like water in a bottle, and it's the trippiest shit. You crack it open, you drink it, and you're like, oh wow, that tastes like the perfect English breakfast tea.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
It's some way they make it. It gets rid of the color. But yeah, with the tours, so 10 grand covers flights, accommodation, food on track days, fuel, tires, cars, coaching. We have
Hanging out with George Lucas.
last tour we had 4 cars. Yeah, hanging out with George Lucas. Fuck yeah, I'll bring a lightsaber. And fucking
You
meow, meow.
have to
Just
now.
let you-
Now you
Yeah.
have to bring a fucking lightsaber.
Next time I'm coming, I'm bringing the
Gonna
lightsaber. I'll
have
dig
to,
it
I'll
out of
bring a
storage.
I'll do it.
Relive
Please
my
do.
The
childhood.
drifting Jedi.
The drifting Jedi. So
May the bearings
you
be
get
with you.
flights, accommodation, fuel, tires, food on track days. You get the car hire. You get training. We do video footage as well, and we're going to give you guys edits at the end. If you want a personalized edit, you can pay us a little bit extra or whatever after the trip, and we can actually do you a personalized cut. But we'll be giving everyone like a bulk edit. We've actually almost finished the edits from January so that we can start giving them out to the guys. And then you get all of the tour shit, man. Like, we go to all the different places. We take you to see everything. Now, we don't cover, like, you know, if you want to go buy shit at Moon Eyes, we're not covering that. If we go to Big Bang Karts and we go go-karting, you pay for your go-karting, but we'll take you there, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's like $10 for like 5 goes or whatever. It's not wickedly expensive.
Yeah.
It's not $10. It's like, I think it's 10. It's like 1,500 yen or some shit.
It's like $18.
Yeah, $18 or something. I think it is. And you know, we'll go to things like Up Garage. Like, for instance, when we went to Honjo, we got to meet up with like Ueno and all these wicked drift talents, and we got to see that. You know, there's the guys that buy the S15s and they turn them into like the 1940s styles gangster cars.
Oh yeah, they are. Insane.
This dude was drifting one of those at Honjo.
Was it the gold one?
But yeah, it was gold. It
Yes.
was sick.
I've seen the photos of that. It's insane.
Yeah,
He's got
it was
like
wicked,
the
you know?
the like wire mesh wheel on the front of it, like on the front.
Yeah.
tail. I was just
Yeah,
like,
it's got the
wow.
wired mesh wheels and it's got like the freaking hubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, big giant over fenders, like steam pipe looking motherfucker. Yeah,
Yeah.
sick. But yeah, so we got to drift with like Ueno, we got to drift with various different, you know, high level drivers while we were at Honjo. And the coolest part about it for me personally, like, I've always been a big fan of like underpowered cars battling and going against massive high powered cars and see what they can do. So we're at Honjo, and you know, Finks jumped in this 300 PS 180. And then Ueno's there with like 1,100 horsepower Sora, and he can't get away from the thing.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, this is amazing! My car's doing real. I couldn't drive it like that, but it was sick to watch. And then also watching them chase him, and like, you're just getting to see high level drivers in an environment where you just don't really get to see that here because they're just fucking about, you know?
Yeah.
What else did we do? But this time around, yeah, look, we're hoping to do some cool shit. We're hoping to catch up with some pretty big names and have some fun with them while we're over there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And there could even be a guest coach coming if he can free up his timeline and he's available. We'll be bringing somebody else over. It all depends if his timeline runs up. Later on in the year, we're gonna. Look, we're definitely who's that? Ben Warner. We're gonna bring Ben. No, so definitely later in the year, coaches that I can confirm that will be coming on tours. We're gonna have Ken Gucci come along on a tour later in the year. We're gonna get Jack Shanahan to come along. I was meant to have Jack come in January, but we didn't get enough people on the tour to bring Jack as well. So Jack will be coming as a guest coach later on in the year. Probably never going to get a hold of Connor because his schedule's too hardcore, but we'll definitely get Jack out. As I said, Andy's going to come along. We're going to get Dale Campaign to come along as a coach because, anyone can admit where that guy's driving has gone in the last 12 months is fucking insane. Yeah. Especially watching how well he performed at World Time Attack. Like, I was like, yeah, so proud of him. We'll probably get a few different guys coming on over the years, but our aim is to just make it as fun and cruisy and as epic as possible, and you not have to worry about anything. Like 10 grand down, and then don't worry about shit. Just rock up and drive.
Yeah, that's it. Basically, that is such an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, and obviously people can extend the trip for their own extra money.
Yep, they can extend it if people want to. Look, if people aren't interested in doing the toury stuff and all they want to do is come and drive, we can adjust the package. If people want to stay longer, if they want to bring their partners, we do just cost price for flights and accommodation if you want to bring your partner along. So that'd be like $4,000 for their flights and accommodation. So if you think about that, right, like cost price for flights and accommodation for someone for that period of time being $4,000, and then we've got $6,000 to play with for cars, tires. Like it's fuck all per person when you think about it. Like it's bugger all. We don't make money out of this. And then we're also going to put some packages together later on in the year where we're going to do shorter stuff. Like we'll go over and we might do 2 track days. So we might be there for a week, and that'll cost like $5 or $6,000. We just got to work out the logistics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
cool.
But that's about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like a wicked package. I'm like,
yeah. We've got a few questions that we'll run through at the end that we've had from comments and stuff, but we'll just because we are getting up on the time, so we'll just go on to about the not-for-profit quickly.
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about that and, working with people that are suffering mental illness and trying to...
Yeah, give us a rundown. Give us a rundown.
Give us a quick rundown on what you planned on.
Cool. So I came up with a concept for the not-for-profit quite a few years ago, actually. Well, I came up with the concept, and it didn't become a reality until I started having these issues with my health. Until I got faced with my own mortality, I hadn't really thought about things in a perspective. I've always been a person to do things for others, but I'd never actually had it put into perspective that I had, and I hadn't dealt with depression or anxiety. And when I broke my neck in 2013 and life really fucking changed for me and things got really hard, dealing with depression and anxiety in the way that I did was a nightmare, man. Like it's something that has a really horrible stigma about it. It's something that people don't quite understand. Even a lot of scientists and doctors don't fully understand depression and anxiety in its fullness. Especially, every single human has a different reaction to a depressive cycle, and there can be external and internal factors. There can be many different reasons or ways that people become depressed and how it exhibits. One of the things that I definitely discovered during my personal issues is that working on cars and being around motorsports and being in that group of people and having a community of supportive people around me fucking saved my life. Like, I went from being a full-time, all I was doing was fighting and training. Like, I worked a shitty job and I trained 4 hours twice a day, 7 days a week, and I was determined to be a pro fighter, and that's all I wanted to do, and then I broke my neck. And then everything changed. And I went from like living 24 hours a day, constant pain, not being able to function. I was basically housebound for quite a while, and I was heavily medicated on a whole bunch of different drugs that were just fucking my life up. And I've had a lot of years to sort of get through that stuff. I then had a divorce. I had some brushes with some pretty serious health shit that I went through. And it taught me this massive lesson is that, we have limited time. And since you look at our generations, guys like you, Ben, and myself, when you look at our age group, even from 25 to now to like 35, sort of where I'm at, we're not fucking doing much with our lives, man. If I look back to my granddad contributed to society. He fought in the war. He was a volunteer. He did salvos work. he did so much shit to leave his mark to make sure that he was remembered for doing the right thing by his community. And that's what I want to do with my not-for-profit. So myself and Luke and Tiana are part of not-for-profit. We've launched a not-for-profit organization together, which is called the Australian Institute of Motorsports. And the primary focus of this is to combat depression and anxiety through motorsports. So essentially, we've putting together some programs that we're going to be using a combination of donations, private funding, and fundraising funding to essentially do what I've been doing out of my own pocket for the last sort of 18 months, which is we will take candidates on that are going through depression and anxiety. Obviously, there's a whole process to it, but we bring you sort of into our program and we provide you with a drift car or a time attack car or a Queensland Sports Cars style car. There's 3 different branches that we have. And we will essentially assist you to build your own race car. We will provide the parts, we'll provide the tools, we'll provide the location to do it in. We provide on-site mechanics to assist with the process as well. And we're going to help you build a car, and we're going to help you get into the field of motorsports that you wish to do, to help you get your life back on track or whatever it may be. We did quite a few last year, and we had great success out of it. And we were able to help some people get out of some really fucking shit situations in their life and build, a little community around them with motorsports and actually start functioning and getting back into the work. We had one dude that was like fucking stuck in his house for 7-8 months. And then we got him back out into drifting and we got him to build a car. And now he's like got a job and he's sorting his shit out and he's, combating his depression and he's living his life and he's out of his house and he's able to deal with his anxiety. And there's not just the process of building the cars. We go through mental health work. We go through understanding the power of not bullshit positive thinking, but like positive thinking combined with action. You can fucking sit at home and think positively all you want till the cows come home and it's not going to do shit because you're sitting at home. But if you're taking small steps to actually do proactive tasks in your life, you're eventually going to start to get to the point where you can get out of the house and you can do things. It doesn't happen the same for everybody, and we're not saying that we're going to provide a fucking instant fix cure for anyone that's got depression or anxiety, but what we're aiming to do is give people that have an interest in this stuff but feel like they can't do it because they, 1, don't have the money, 2, they don't have the mental fortitude, like whatever it may be, we want to be able to be there to help you. So that's like step 1 of the not-for-profit. The website will be finished this weekend and it will be put live next week. But essentially that's our major focus. Our secondary focus is that we want to remove barriers for motorsports. So essentially, when you guys got into it, like what's the one thing that stops you from drifting every week?
Money.
Yeah? And time, right? If you could go to the track and it didn't cost you anything to get in, or it cost you very little. Let's say fuck that. Let's say you had to pay track entry, but you didn't have to pay. You have a car on track. You don't have to pay to use that car. You have a coach to help you drive that car. You have a team member there as well to help you change tires and do all that sort of shit. And you've got fuel provided. And you can go drifting. And it doesn't fucking cost you anything other than paying the entry fee for the track. Yeah? That's the dream. Let's say you don't even have to pay the entry fee. That's one of our other programs. So whether you want to do time attack, whether you want to do grip stuff, whether you want to do drifting, we're putting steps in place with certain revenue strategies that we're using. We're putting steps in place so that we can generate revenue. We can funnel that revenue into developing these programs. And then we can provide, our aim is to have sort of 2 to possibly 5 cars available this year that people can come and use at free or very minimal charge to get into motorsports. And you don't have to be going through depression or anxiety. It's a different program. It's for anybody. Anyone in the general public of any age can come and do these programs. We did them pro bono last year. I taught quite a lot of people how to drift in my cars at my expense to make sure that we had the appropriate platform and that it was working correctly. And I needed to make sure that what I was going to be doing people were going to actually benefit from. Otherwise, there was no point doing it. And we've successfully taught, like maybe 30, 40 people last year, how to get the grip of drifting through simulators and through the real car. A lot of them were obviously mates of mine. There were some random strangers that I work with as well, but it was about feeling out that the process works and taking people that have never experienced any form of motorsport into motorsport to actually be able to do it. And the simulators will be part of it. We're going to have simulators that will be at Archerfield that we're talking to a few partners at the moment to get built so we can offer the simulators to be used whenever you're at Archerfield. It's just part of your entry fee sort of thing. So that's phase 2. So phase 1 is combating depression and anxiety. Phase 2 is removing barriers to motorsport. lot of other countries in the world have programs for motorsport that people can get into. Australia, we don't really fucking have anything that is going to help take our sport to the next level, right? So they're the first two focuses. The third focus of the not-for-profit is around funding. Funding for tracks, funding for drivers, funding for, support, funding for families of injured drivers, various different things. And the focus there is when you're taking a motorsports journey, let's say you're a go-karter and you're a really good fucking go-karter, you've won the national series and you want to go to the next step and you want to start driving Formula 3, or Formula Ford, or you want to take your career to the next level. Always the number one thing there is money. Money stops you from doing it. So there's usually two strategies. You either fund yourself by working really fucking hard. Well, there's three. You either come from a rich family and they help you. There's nothing wrong with that. However you do in motorsports, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're not taking the piss, right? So you got a family that's got money that help you. You work your fucking ass off and you have 3 or 4 jobs and you put everything you can into your motorsports, which a lot of guys do. Sean Evans does this. Tyler Greenberry works his ass off to try and do shit like that. There's like Matt Campbell, he worked a shit ton of jobs before he came pro. Like, here's people that do it, yeah? I did it when I wanted to get into hill climb and time attack. I fucking worked my ass off to try and fund my car and just to write it off and give up. So we aim to be that platform you can come to. You can come to us and, like, we don't have funds right now to fund anything, but we've got some things in place that we're going to put into play that will give us capital to do this. And our aim is to basically be a sponsorship arm, but without any of the bullshit that comes with it. When you go and get sponsorship in motorsports, you normally have like ROIs and various things that you have to try and achieve to appease your sponsor for giving you that money to obviously get you into your career, yeah? We all know how it works. So what we're aiming to do is have a program that people can apply to. Let's say, you used to be a pro fucking ping pong player. Let's say you take your drifting to the next level, Ben, and you go, yep, I want to fucking go and compete in the DCA National Series, or I want to compete in high tech, or I'm already in high tech and I want to take the next step and I want to go compete in Japan and I need sponsorship money. You can come to our not-for-profit, and provided that you tick all the boxes, you're not a fuckwit, you don't have a shit attitude on social media, you're not doing, illegal shit, you're a decent human being and you actually want to contribute to society, apply to us. If we vet you and you pass all the criteria, we can see that you've got driving ability, we can see that you're not a fuckwit, we're going to help you. We will fund your drive, right? Now, we're not going to give the money directly to the athlete. So Ben doesn't come to us and I go, hey, man, here's $500,000. Fucking take that, because it's not going to go on your motorsports career, right? So what we'll do is we will pay your bills that will get you into your motorsports. We're aiming to be able to give you an allowance to live your life so that you can focus on just driving and doing your motorsports craft. There will be no ROI bullshit. We will not want you to do marketing. We don't want you wasting your time chucking up posts about how fucking amazing we are. That's not the point of it. The point of it is to focus on your career. We will give you access to trainers and coaches. Essentially, we want to provide any driver of any level and also any driver of any age. So we don't want just young guns coming to us. If you're 45 and you've been driving in Queensland sports cars for 5 years and you've hit a brick wall and you don't know how you can take your career to the next step, we want you to be able to have that opportunity to come to us and we'll fucking sponsor you to go somewhere else, yeah? So it's something Luke's really passionate about, is the development of drifting in Australia and the development of motorsports. Something Tiana's really passionate about. It's something I'm incredibly passionate about. And that's the major focus of the not-for-profit in those 3 portions. We want to combat depression and anxiety by giving people an opportunity. We want to reduce barriers to motorsport by enabling people to get in and get active with it and do it without the cost or the burden of the cost. And then we also want to be able to provide drivers with an opportunity to take their career to the next level. We have, between myself and Luke, and we've got guys like Wes Beedman on board, and we've got good connections with various different suppliers and whatnot. We can hopefully pull this off. And it's a big fucking ambitious goal.
Yeah, definitely.
I never take small bites of shit. I always take big fucking bites. But I'm really passionate about this because it doesn't exist. There is nothing out there to support people. If you want to get into drifting in this country, if you want to get into time attack, if you want to get into racing of any fucking kind, it costs you a shit ton of money. Does it not?
It does.
So we hope to remove those barriers and enable people to get it. That's it. Like, yeah, I could ramble on for hours, but that's it.
Well, let's get to some questions.
Yeah.
Can you read them out, Ben? Because my eyes aren't that good. So just pick out some decent ones. Why are you guys wearing hats inside?
I don't know, Marv.
Oh,
I need a haircut.
I wear a
why.
hat because I need a fucking haircut.
Yeah,
man.
exactly the same reason. Except, like, I don't have time. I have 2 jobs, and I just never get to a hairdresser.
See this? This is not fake. I don't dye this shit. This has been like this since I was fucking in high school.
You would have fit right in
But
with
I-
the emo kids and the goth kids.
I would have. I've decided I'm going to grow my hair for 12 months. I know I've got this dodgy looking emo thing on here, but I wear a hat because it looks better.
Yeah, feels.
One of the questions is, how many track cars do you run in the group for the Japan tours? And I'll just add something to that. They're not track cars. They're actually registered. So
Kind of.
they're registered.
No, they are pure, but they are purpose-built track cars. No?
Okay.
So only
But they're
only
a
one of them is
registered track
a
car.
shotgun car. But we have shotgun plates for them. Yes, we have temporary shotgun plates that we use on them. You can drive them on the road. We can have up to 4. So we have 10 cars available. Last tour we used 4 of those cars because the other cars weren't ready at the time. But we used 4 of them. We can have up to 10 available. What we aim to do, if we have a full group of 10, we will run 4 to 5 cars.
Yeah.
Purely because of the way the groups rotate. You're rotating in different skill levels. You'll usually have an A group through to like a C, all the way through to a D group. So you might have like A, B, C, D, 4 groups, A, B, C, D, E, 5 groups. And what we can do is we'll put the high level drivers in A group. They'll use particular cars. We then may have a break session, so the cars get a break, or we'll have the amateur guys go out in the cars, and so on and so forth. So even though the last tour we had 7 people come along, including myself, and we had 4 cars, everybody got adequate drive time. Like, we got heaps of track time when we were out there. Coaches do drive. I definitely drove on the last tour. If we're driving and it's impacting on anyone else's drive, the coach will not drive, obviously, and let somebody else drive. But if there's an opportunity for a coach to get in and have a spiel, they're obviously over there as well, working pretty hard, so we like them to be able to drive too. And we always like to get people to drive with the coaches. So something that we'll do is we'll go out with Luke for a couple of laps, go out with Andy for a couple of laps, go out with me, go out with Danny. 1, you can see how the car drives. 2, you can get a feel for what it's like on its limits, and then we chuck you in and we do some coaching. But yeah, 4 up to 10 cars.
Okay.
How's it?
Any chance of getting a 4-age Corolla, like an A86, as one of those cars in your trips?
Look, we definitely can. We definitely could get a 4-age sorted. It's definitely not a priority at this minute because all the cars that we have. It should be. Look, we do have a shell. We do have a shell that is running engine and stuff that we could turn into it. I was going to use my 86 as one of the
But
cars.
it's not yours anymore.
But it's not mine anymore. It's Tiana. But yes, it's definitely a possibility. We definitely can do it because we have a shell there.
Prioritize
I
that.
just haven't done it yet.
Prioritize that.
Is it a notchback shell?
It is a notchback, yeah.
Ooh.
Ben wants the notchback
I
shell.
want a notchback so bad.
He'll swap
want a
you.
notchback
He'll
shell?
swap
Well,
you.
then buy
His
that.
shell is
Yeah, I'll
nice.
swap you. I'll swap you for 34. Nah.
He would probably
Honestly, I
do
don't
that.
have an
You should be-
attachment to the 34. I have an attachment to my other 86, but...
Luke Fink, he says, oh hi, toilet seat.
Thank you, Japanese.
So, what did he say? High toilet seat? Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh hi, toilet seat.
Clarify that.
Yeah, which is Benki in
Oh, high
Japanese.
toilet seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Benki, as in Benki, is bedpan or toilet seat.
Nice.
But Benkai, which is Benkei, is actually the name of a warrior monk, Benkai Mushibo. They're 2 different things, Luke. I will accept Benki because, I kiss the bed a lot and that's fine.
You do that when you're getting old. You got to wear those old people nappies.
Yeah, old man, towards this age, I can't feel a lot of my body. Sometimes I pay myself all gravy.
And he also said that the
2,000 yen for
those
5-minute sessions.
Yeah.
2,000 yen for the bag.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have... Well, it's not really a question.
This isn't a question. This, I guess, we'll move into the news part of it. You can read it. I can barely see it.
High Tech Drift All Stars is on this weekend at Calder Park, and it's got a full field in Pro and Pro-Am, and Burnout
shows big.
There we go. Yes, it's and come down and enjoy the great weather at Calder Park on Saturday. So if anybody's out that way, go check that out. That'll be rad.
Sick. Go check that out. That'll be good.
He also commented the last Japanese trip looked insane. So
yeah.
Actually, shout out Daniel Massima. Fucking go hard at High Tech this weekend. Who else? I think Dale Campaign. Is Dale having a crack? Can't remember. But if Dale, I don't know if he is.
yeah.
Who else do I know that's having a good crack? Michael Jin. Fucking mad shout out. Go nuts, man. Go hard in your JZ.
And then just someone else asked. Okay. They asked it directly to Luke Fink, but it was it's in regards to the not-for-profit and when is it happening? Basically, just a time frame. I guess he's asking about that.
So time frame. Look, the not-for-profit's already established. We're building the website at the moment, and we're going through some processes with the government. Obviously, setting up a not-for-profit is not something that is easy to do.
And not
because they got to make sure that you. Yeah, it's not overnight, and they've got to make sure that you're doing the appropriate things. And then we've also got some relationships that we've got to finalize because I've been doing a lot of this. I've been doing all of this stuff the last 18 months out of my own back pocket, and I'm happy to do that for as long as possible. But I can't take it to the next level of what I want to do and actually give these programs if I keep doing it out of my own pocket because I don't have enough fucking money. I have money, but I don't have enough, and I've got to look after myself sometimes too. I forget that, so I break shit. And so. Yeah, we've got some government funding stuff that we're looking at. We're going to be doing some fundraising stuff. The actual tour itself, like the drift tours that we run, that is a profit for purpose design. So of the profit that we do make out of those tours, that profit goes back into the not-for-profit so that we can then fund other things.
Cool.
We're going to do things like, for instance, another part of it is not just for drivers, like tracks. Let's say Raleigh needed resurfacing. Raleigh could apply to the not-for-profit in the future, and we can help fund that. If Archie wanted resurfacing, various other smaller tracks, if they wanted to do things, or small organizations, they could do that as well. So,
can you please say Raleigh? Right? It's fucking Raleigh.
Sorry, Raleigh. My bad.
I almost lost it. I could just see Trav like, darn, it's Raleigh.
Hey, Raleigh, bro. Raleigh. All right, next question. So yeah, look, the not-for-profit will be functional within the coming weeks. Like by the end of this month, the not-for-profit will be functional, and we're going to start doing things. I've already started to donate my time. We're going to be Tuesday night drifting. We'll be at Archie every second week. We're going to be doing the training format. I will be there. I'm donating my time for free. I'm not like I'm no fantastic fucking drifter or anything, but I can help you go from not being able to drift to being able to drift. I've definitely done that a few times. So happy to help anyone that wants to come along. There'll be other drivers that are local at Archie as well to help coaching. And we're just going to keep stepping it up from there. So we've got 3 current builds in the process at the moment. We are looking for sponsors that want to come board and either provide with parts or assist us with, costs of getting these cars together, because it does obviously take money and effort. We've got a 1BS shell, an S13 shell. We've finished the Laurel. The Laurel will be available for drift tutelage in the coming weeks. And we're also building an RB 3025 to go in an S13 as well, that we're going to be using for the not-for-profit too. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah, stay tuned.
That'll be right. Hell yeah.
Awesome. So people want to know about the drift tours. Where do they go?
They go to howtodrift.com. So it's www.how-to-drift.com or hyphen or however you want to say it.
Yep.
So that's where they go. You go on our Facebook as well, which is No Doubt Drifting. And you can contact us through there, or the Instagram, No Doubt Drifting. We'll get a hold of me. You can always hit me up on my personal Facebook. If you're a random stranger, probably don't message me directly through my personal Facebook. Message me through the Facebook page. But if you're someone that's already in the drift circle and know me existentially through other people or whatever it may be, reach out, go nuts. I'm always open to that sort of shit. But yeah, howtodrift.com. So how/to/drift.com or hyphen. This bad boy, like whatever it is. It's a hyphen, right? It's called a hyphen. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. The hyphen, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I don't.
And you can obviously
drift, I
find
think.
you at No Doubt Drifting on Instagram too.
Yeah. At No Doubt Drifting on Instagram or on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'd say that's
Yeah, I think that wraps up all our questions. I mean,
yeah, and
been a very informative
yes.
episode.
yeah, no, it's a long one.
Yeah, well-
I think we're up to a bit over 2 hours.
Just a bit.
So
Yeah, sick. Oh, I didn't beat Thanks 3 hours.
nah, you're a close second though. So
Yeah.
And something I'd definitely like to talk about before we go
Hmm.
is there's a new simulation venture that's opening up in Brisbane.
Yep.
I'd love everybody to get behind it because it's insane. I've been doing simulators for a long time. I've built a lot of crazy shit in my time. From direct drive wheels, computer systems, full in-car enclosed simulators, all sorts of shit. And I've never seen anything like what Chris has created at VR Motorsports. The boys, you guys drove them.
Yeah.
You've
Yep.
used them yourselves. We're going to be doing training out of there for the not-for-profit. We're going to be doing all sorts of stuff out of there. If you want to learn how to drift and you don't want to, risk damaging your car, contact the boys at VR Motorsports. It's VR Motorsports on Facebook. They're in Tingalpa. Organize to do a training session. For the moment, because they're just starting, the training sessions will be charged, but I'm not getting any money out of it. I'm volunteering my time to do coaching, and the boys are obviously benefiting from that because they're just opening. But we're happy to help you out in any way, shape, or form, and the simulators are sensational. So if everyone could jump over to VR Motorsports and give them a like, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Can confirm
definitely
they
guys
are
to check out. Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, probably they're by far the best in Australia of simulators. So yeah.
Oh, hands up. Dude, these are world-class systems. They're
Yeah.
insane.
yeah,
Yeah, and they're all built by Chris himself. Like, they're
Yeah.
mental.
yeah, definitely.
and the
even
only other
worth just
shout-out
having
I
a
wanna give-
look at.
Oh,
You
it's
know.
insane. Even if you're
Yeah.
not driving,
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Just have a look. Just
Yeah.
go and have a look. Like, they're fucking mental.
Well, they have an
They've
awesome
got pool,
setup
they've
there
got a
too.
bar.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. So even
Yeah.
if you're not driving, go check it out. It's rad.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Yeah, sick. Shout out to Amir as well, mad dude. I'm pretty sure he asked a question before.
Yeah,
Um,
he said you know you know him. So
Yeah.
we were just about to bring that up.
And then the other guys I like to shout out is obviously Keeley Motorsports. They've helped me out a lot in the past. They're a sensational garage. They got my car ready for Drift Masters. If there's anyone you want to tune your car, I wouldn't go past them. Like they are, they're top notch. Obviously, Ben builds a lot of the World Time Attack cars. He works on Luke's cars. He works on mine. They are like high level stuff. Look, if you don't have money, don't go there. Like they're not cheap, but they build amazing shit. And then the other garage I'd like to give a shout out to is Endgame. Endgame have supported me massively for a long time. Ben James is a very good mate of mine. He's an amazing mechanic. He's just opened a shop in Launton. It's called Endgame Motorsports. Him, Loki Curry, and Heafy, Tom Heafy, have opened the shop, and it's sensational. They prepped my Laurel. They got my Laurel ready for Adam LZ Day in like a week, which was pretty sick. And they're finishing my RB22 S13 at the moment. So definitely give a shout out to them. That's at Endgame Motorsports on Facebook and on Instagram. Keeley Motorsports is on Facebook, and obviously DCA.
Yeah.
Big train, choo choo.
Yeah, for sure. No, awesome,
Oh,
dude.
I'd like to shout out to Samet and my 4 subscribers and Grip Runner.
Yeah.
Gotta love Grip Runner.
Yeah, you got some rad footage
Dude,
of Ben.
Grip, man,
Yeah.
Grip Runner's video from Adam LZ's day was like
Yeah.
insane.
Oh, bro, I felt so stupid when my bumper fell off.
I like it. They put it back on, and you just like drove off, and it fell straight back off. I'm like, oh, and then you
No, they
didn't
were trying
stop.
to
You
take
just
it
kept
off.
going.
They were trying to take it off, and I didn't realize there was a bolt in the back. I thought they'd take it off. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going. And I just ripped the whole back bar off.
Nice. Good job.
Sick, boys. Well, thank you very much for having me on here. It's been awesome.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me.
Awesome,
It's been
dude.
great.
We'll definitely chat to you again soon. Probably give a bit of a
hopefully go
recap
for-
after the April trip and
Yeah.
see how it went.
Or if not, go drifting
Yeah, sick,
beforehand.
man. We'll be dropping some videos for the January trip. I'll hopefully have those edits done for my team in a couple of, like either this week or next week. So we'll drop some edits on the YouTube. We're going to actually start blogging shit on the YouTube because crazy shit happens all the time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Sick, guys. Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm going to go and eat some dinner.
Thanks,
good.
dude. Catch
Thanks,
up.
man. Have a good one.
See you later.
Right. That was awesome. Yeah,
Did that one.
there we go.
Awesome.
Cause yeah, no, I'm like dead set keen for one of those Japan trips. Like
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
after hearing about how much you spend at Evisu every time you go, but then you only stay at Evisu.
Admittedly, there is like 6 different tracks in the one Ebisu complex, so you do get a variety. But
no doubt, you get a lot more, I guess, seat time. But you also have to buy your car.
I think that's the biggest cost. Is
yeah,
it may cost a similar amount per trip to Ebisu, but that's providing that you already own a car, and it doesn't also count fixing that car.
Yes.
So
because there's been many instances of somebody buying a car in Japan and it hasn't actually run straight off the bat. Whereas with the drift
definitely
tours,
happens a lot.
You're
pretty much guaranteed a reliable car.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you've got a workshop that actually can repair them if anything does go wrong, which is really, really awesome.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely something to keep an eye on for people, and definitely
check it out at No Doubt Drifting and all that, because really you can't go wrong.
No,
you get to go do sightseeing and drift tracks. That
14 days is enough for Japan to, for a car trip. You'll probably be over it by the end of a 14-day trip. But especially for a first trip, that's a really good it's a really good value.
Insane.
So, yeah,
hells yeah.
Awesome.
Any news that popped up through your feed? I have been smashed at work. I've not had time to.
There was a little one. Adam LZ getting on old current affair.
Yes. So, let's talk about this one. Australia have had a really good track record.
Yeah. So for people who listen overseas, you might not know, but there is a show called A Current Affair,
which is a very loosely based journalism.
Journalism,
for a better word of the term, show, and they basically just find people that are there to whinge about stuff that hasn't needed to be whinged about.
It's a show for old people, like Grandpa we had on just earlier. So
brutal. So we've had Crazy Carlo, Westgate Bridge AE86, the Mexican Hoon Cartel, and now we have LZ in his also gang-related Mexican Hoon Cartel shenanigans.
Yes, because the only reason that you would be saying that you're going to Mexico is because of the Mexican Hoon Cartel.
Yeah, that's solely because of that.
Honestly, I've watched one of the Mexican Hoon Cartel videos, and they play the Mexican music in the background.
The mariachi band in the background.
Amazing.
Wait, did you see
They're just bogans.
Oh, it's 100% bogan. It's hilarious. But
there needs to be more Mexican drifting.
Hey Holmes, que pasa? It's my drift car,
I need Danny. I need Danny.
We need Danny here.
All right. Other than that, the guys were saying earlier about the high tech round at Calder.
So if you're down there, go check that out.
Yeah, there's always drifting on this time of year at Archie.
Yeah, basically every Thursday, and I think it's every second Saturday, Sunday.
And plus some Tuesdays, once a month, I think it is. So.
Yeah, and they have a beginner day, just recently passed, they had the old school layout at Archie, and that was really cool. I actually got my workmate to go and drive because he's been talking about going to Archie for ages, but he was terrified of the big straight because he doesn't have a handbrake. And I was like, man, they're running the old layout. If you don't go now, you're never going to go. And then I basically told Luke that he's going to drive, and then I told him, so he ended up having to go. That was good.
We've also got this month coming up real soon is the Drift Matsuri.
I thought that was next weekend.
No, I think it's in a couple of weekends.
Isn't it this weekend?
What?
Isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it's this weekend.
It's
I thought
coming
it was
up
next
real
weekend.
soon.
Let me double check that.
Yeah.
I'll be happy if it's in a few weeks.
Obviously, we got Bring the Bash on its way as well. That's coming up quick too. And Port Macquarie, where Daigo Saito is going to be there. So definitely check that out. Yeah. What weekend is
9th of March.
Oh, yeah, that's this weekend.
Yes. So I booked next weekend off.
Shit.
Thinking it was next weekend, and now I can't get this weekend off.
Shit.
I might be there Sunday. Come say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, it is.
Thanks, Guy. For
thanks, Luke.
It's this weekend. Fuck. Anyway.
Lesson
so
1.
That's this weekend.
Check dates before you book time off.
Yeah, nice. Other than that, I don't think there's any other news, so we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, catch us on all the usual podcast sites and on YouTube. hopefully,
Facebook, Instagrams, all of it. We got YouTube comments finally
working. So hopefully it's not set to private anymore because
it's not because the comments wouldn't be working if it wasn't. So
there we go.
Yeah, we're getting there. Awesome, guys.
Well, thanks for listening.
And we will catch you next time.